Hello, everybody. And Kevin. All right, so Adam is doing hyper triage, which means going through the 77,000 characters of this and figuring out what should be dropped and what should be tracked in GitHub. Yeah, lunch was good. Hey, Megabox. Okay, so Kevin submitted a PR really quickly. Let's take a look at that. Also, I did this right before lunch. Yeah, we're at 77,400 characters. If I say display word count, does it display the character count too? No, it doesn't. Unless if I click that, maybe. Oh, it says excluding spaces, though. There's no way to... Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. So let's get this. We're going to put the exact time and say 77381 characters. Now, the exact number doesn't really matter because, like I said, every time we type any character, just to even track this, we're adding to the document. Oh, screen's frozen. Thank you. Yeah, I have it on my list to fix that too. So maybe we'll get to that today. I am back. That is right. All right, so closes this. The changes in this affected it. Drag controller enabled in game settings menu. Interesting. Okay, let's try this out. GHPR checkout 943. Let's close out all these things that we have. Cool. Cool. And cool. Yeah, every once in a while, I like doing what I have planned for today, which is the triage stuff and organization, because I feel like I get overwhelmed by having all this stuff on the to-do list and not knowing what's important, what can be dropped. And we'll probably easily be able to drop like 10 to 15% of this stuff. Then it'll be a little bit harder to drop another 5 to 10% of it. And then the rest of it should probably just be filed in GitHub and then eventually dropped anyway. So we should be very critical about the stuff we're going to be dropping. All right, so we go to the settings, we change anything, we click over here. This is showing up in the right spot and we can't drag this anymore. I thought that said true, but it said false. Okay, so that makes sense. So then it's always going to show up in the middle. And that's what these anchor things are going to change. All right, so let's say we undo this, go to a new game, skip this, go over here, save, load, click anything. Yeah. Oh, there's a problem in game. Okay, interesting. Yeah, it looks like this fixed it. Thanks for doing this. Looks like it fixes everything. Yeah, nice. Cool. So that is done. Let's go back to main. If there's something that's very fast for me to fix today, we'll probably try to fix it. But otherwise, I'm just going to look through these things. So like this, for example, battle music. I'm tracking this in the backlog, but not for any particular reason. I think I should file this on GitHub. I definitely want to save this somewhere. Yeah. Make battle music. Notes from May 8th when I was streaming about this. All right, copy as markdown. Paste. Big chords. We got to tab that in more. There we go. I'm not going to fix the spacing. I don't care about that. This has to be assigned to me. Also, I don't know if we have a label for music. We do. All right, so that's been filed. And right away, you can see we're almost below 77,000. All right, Raymer reported that we should turn off confined mouse by default. Confined. There was an issue with this. I want to consolidate all these issues. Turn off confined mouse to game window. Turning off the setting by default is a simple one-liner, but I think we should go a step further. The setting is really only useful in the context of edge panning, so maybe require edge panning to be on in order to enable confining the mouse. Also, maybe mention this can be buggy on Mac OS. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think there was something else there with that. Confine. Yeah. It can, excuse me, the mouse can go in seemingly random directions. Seems to be exacerbated by OS level zooming. No, that didn't let someone resize the window. Oh, and also confining the mouse to the game window doesn't let people resize the window. So maybe should even require full screening the game. No, I don't know. Yeah. All right, now I do not want to discriminate here. I want to go through the entire list if we can, because what I tend to do is I'm like, oh, let's leave that there, let's leave that there. And maybe we do that, but then I should move it to the bottom of the list if we're going to keep it here. That way we know that we've gone through everything. I don't need to keep tracking what we've done. All right, something I didn't know in the PR is that this also allows us to have a single audio system. Yeah, I guess I can write this here. I'll just edit this. Update from Adam. Kevin said that this change should also let us have a single audio system. I made a custom one for the intro that perhaps we could consolidate, but there may be code there that we don't want in the main system. Now I'll just leave it at that. Okay. All right, figure out how to fade everything. Yeah, there are a couple things we could do here. Hey, Matt, how's it going? Happy afternoon. Fix intro fading. Okay, can I make a converter thing that lets me do this? You know what I should do? I should make a hammer spoon script or something, because I find myself wanting to copy an image out of Google Docs. What's the easiest way to do this? Because how I've been doing it is removing all of this stuff and then pasting it into the base64 encode. We could make a script that just removes this stuff. Just got to remove the final character and then the first 3 lines, I guess. 2.5 hour meeting and we didn't get anything resolved. 1.5 hour. That's that's a little crazy. Is it because the problem was too big, or was just disorganized, or what happened? I wonder. Can you add a script in GDocs to do that for you? Do they have scripting in here? Oh, they do. Yeah. I should be able to. Google Doc. I wonder if there's already something that exists for this. To copy image. I don't know why I even use Bing anymore. Oh. Google Doc extension to copy image. Open in development tools, click on frames, top images. Yeah, there's got to be a better way. You shift right click, then you can download the pictures. You have to double click on the image first. Whoa, what? Really? Oh man. Does that seriously work? Oh, it does. I did not know about that. Wait a second. Save image as shows up if I just right click this. Would that work? Download that PNG? No, it copies some like random portion of this. Whoops. Interesting. When was this answer written? Because I didn't know about this. 2015. Huh. You can copy then and copy into GitHub from the clipboard, can't you? No, it doesn't work. If you do that, it doesn't even paste. Oh, unless you're saying, oh, I double click and then shift right click and then go to copy image. Yeah, that should probably work. Yeah. Wait, no, for whatever reason, I can't paste there. Copy image. Okay, there it said image copied. Yeah, that should be fine. No, it's still not working. Huh, weird. I wonder if I could paste it in a GIMP. No image data to paste. Huh, weird. No decisions can be made. Everything is subject to being upended. Oh, that's too bad. Would have been better to just bypass the meeting. Well, anyway, as long as I can save it and then do something that's decent. It'd be nice to just be able to copy this right out of here, right? Like you right click and there's a copy thing that actually works. If you hit copy here, it doesn't actually do what it should do. Yeah, it just says there's no image data, which is such a shame. And I've looked for this a bunch of times and people have been talking about this for like a decade. CLI one-liner. What is this? I'm very curious. I don't have Xclip though, right? Yeah, but I guess I could just, there's probably some way to do this in on Mac OS. Screenshot it. So the problem with screenshotting it is that this is in negative color space. So I need to turn off dark reader first, then screenshot it, then turn it back on. And yeah, I wonder if something like this will work. We just need to figure out how to get, oh, this is use XML lint. I don't, oh, I do have that. Interesting. Okay, how do you paste Mac OS clipboard environment variable, something like that? There's PB copy, so there's probably some alternative. How come you use GDocs and Obsidian for notes? Why? Oh, yeah, there we go. Thanks. I was about to try to find that. Wouldn't just Obsidian suffice? Yeah. If I were just using Obsidian, I think it'd be a lot easier. Xclip or PB copy and PB paste. Okay, so then I think we can do this. We right click, we go to copy. Oh, that's going to break because I'm going to need to do this too. So this is going to be PB paste, selection clipboard text, XML lint, HTML, XPath. Can I, okay, let's just try this. What if I just copy that and do PB paste? What does this do? I don't know. This probably isn't worth looking into anymore. Provide copying and pasting to the pasteboard from command line. Removes data from the pasteboard, writes it to standard output. It's not writing in a weird way. Brew install Xclip. What is Xclip utility? Utility Mac OS. Xclip selection, send data to the clipboard. It feels like this should have been possible with PB paste. Access X11 clipboard. Is this even worth it though? Even if I get a script, like I can't just right click and do something here. I need to open a, I guess as long as it puts it on the clipboard, what do I care? Okay, fine. Let's try this. Yeah. Brew install Xclip. Is this on GitHub somewhere? Yes. All right. Yeah, we're going to try this then. Hey, 50K Cal. Doesn't have a save image button. Yeah, I'm not totally sure why they don't either. Clearly, they can detect that an image is there, and downloading it should be incredibly simple. It's got to be a reason why they don't want you downloading images. And they must know about this. It's been a decade. So yeah, heck if I know. All right, so now we can try this command, but first we copy that. I keep doing this wrong. Paste, copy, and then run. No URL specified. Hey, Tris. Isn't the issue that doing the copy doesn't put proper data in the clipboard? It sounds like it puts more than the amount of data you might need based on what this answer had said. Where was the answer here? Yeah. So what do they say here? Idea is to copy from Google Docs as normal. Control C or right click and go to copy, and then fix the clipboard. So it says when copying, the clipboard contains the following data types. There's like a whole bunch of stuff that it's got apparently. So if we just run this and then we copy the image, whoops. It says can't open display. Okay, I don't know. Too easy. People would make huge documents full of images, but they still can do that. You can still get the images out. It's just, it's a little bit more work. And if people are using a document as an image backup, then presumably they're willing to put in that work or install a tool or something. Hey, Ramy. Okay, well, I think maybe the easiest thing, if I'm going to do this anyway, is just we copy as markdown and then we just write a script that turns it from base64 into a ping file. So base64 to ping command line out of base64 encode and decode from command line. The thing is I need to put it into a into the right format, or it could steer people away from doing that. Yeah, I suppose it could. I'm trying to imagine a scenario where you're like, I could just store my files in Google Drive, but I'm using Google Docs instead. Like Google already, it's the same cloud storage no matter what, right? Like your docs get stored in your drive and you can already store images in your drives. And then you can even search for images and everything. Or same thing with Google Photos. Like why would, I don't think that'd be a reason for them to stop you. You'd need to use PB copy and okay, yeah. So then I guess let's just brew uninstall xclip. Or create a file folder, try to import something, the entire UI freezes and I have to restart it. What, are you on Windows? Because it could be a rendering issue, in which case you could try at the upper right changing the renderer to like compatibility or something. So all we would need to do is get this string and then find a way to convert it to a ping. And there's presumably some way of doing this. I just don't know what that way is. Pip install B64 image. I mean, is there some easy way to... There apparently is a way in Python. I mean, we could just write a simple Python script to do this then, huh? All right, let's try this out. I mean, I should not be spending my time on this, but it's more academic curiosity at this point. So we're gonna make convert.py, and I'm gonna save this. This is gonna open, yeah, sure, ovo.txt. So now we need to go make that. I think we need to just copy that and save that and then run convert. Incorrect padding. Oh, you do need the padding then. Interesting. I mean, that would make this even easier. Then I wouldn't need to do anything special. Nope, incorrect padding still. Well, that was fun. Hey, Mikros. What am I supposed to do here? B64 decode, file name, open something.png, write it. So this thing thinks it has the wrong padding still. Probably because of this at the top. It's probably going to be like, maybe we need the data bit and not this. One of these is going to work. I'm going to figure this out. No. None of this worked. Oh, that worked. Okay, so now we should find something.png. Open something.png. Could not be opened. It may be damaged or... Wait, seriously? Drat. Think you're missing an equals at the end? Or maybe, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think we had the equals from there. It's too bad. It might be something to do with the resolution and screen size on my laptop. Had the same issues with Houdini. Have you updated your laptop's drivers? Because if this is an issue with multiple things, then yeah, it sounds like it's... Sounds like it's an issue that should be fixed outside of Godot. God, this could have just been easy. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to convert. Okay, so I basically want a way of copying an image out of Google Docs without having to use an external website to convert base64. So I figured, okay, I'll use a Python base64 script. Oh, hey, sorry, I wasn't even looking at this. I test the code, it gets constructed correctly. Encoded equals open in ping data. And then write. I should probably, yeah, write the decoded data here. Oh, funny. Write must be a string, not bytes. Can't I just convert this? Yes. But then this didn't work. No, you can't do that. I might have accidentally added in another equal sign or something at the end here. Or maybe, no, I don't know if that matters. Change W to WB and open. Oh, because we're writing binary. Although now I have a bytes like object is required, not a string. We're getting there. Hey, we did it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so here's what we're gonna do. This is nuts. We're gonna save this script somewhere. We're gonna write a shell script that's gonna take exactly the output that Google requires, and then we're gonna allow this all to work. So let's go put this somewhere on my drive. It doesn't need to be ovo.txt. Can Python read from the clipboard? Read from clipboard. How do I read text from the Windows clipboard? I guess it's got to be specifically for Mac. Yeah, they use PB paste to get it. Pass B64 as input to the string and have it write to standard out. I need to write them both to the clipboard. Pi per clip. And they have paste and they presumably have a copy. Am I really going to do this? How does this fit into triaging? It doesn't. I'm wasting time. I want to do this because this is going to help the rest of my triaging. Like any other images I have, this, and I mean, there aren't a ton, but I do find myself in this situation a decent amount, and I'd fix this forever by doing this. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that would work pretty well, Kevin. I should do that. Hey, Kelsey. How goes it? Okay, so we read from the command line. So Python read command line arguments. Should be argv. What is it? System.argv, os.argv, sys.argv. Yeah. Okay. So let's get this. And then our data that we're going to get is going to be sys.argv. Actually, no, it's got to be base64 data, which I should probably do in the Python style, right? All right, sys.argv1, but we got to trim some of that off. Yeah, and then instead of writing it here, we write it to the command line, but it's got to be as binary. This will two-string it, right? All's going well here, yeah. What are your limitations? Well, it copies it within the Google Doc, so you can paste it to somewhere else in the Google document. Okay, so now we take our text from here and we do pb paste piped into python convert.py into pb copy. Sys.argv is out of range. I thought 0 was going to be the okay, let's just print this out. It didn't print anything. Am I even saving the right file? I am. Weird. Input. Yeah, weird. It's not printing that out. Yeah, this should be a 1. I thought so. But something's different when you pipe something in. It's printing out at the very top. It wasn't though. It wasn't until I stopped piping something in through PB paste that it started printing. Weird. So how do you pipe something in? Echo high to... Well, how does that work? Read piped in data. Pipe input. Standard in. Oh, it gets treated as standard in. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. I want to read all of it. I guess you wouldn't know until you got another line, huh? Yeah, so now we get high again. The problem is that I'm going to have some gigantic thing on my clipboard. So now I do this again. Did that work? Do I have an image on my clipboard now? Nope. I'm never going to get this to work, am I? Oh, man. All right, well, what we could do is get rid of this, I suppose, and try this again. Yeah, it's printing a bunch of bytes. But putting it in PB copy doesn't work, I guess, because it's not in the right format. I should just stop doing this. Yeah, I'm wasting time. I should either find something that does this for me or I could also try this. I don't want to just keep installing like random stuff though. There probably is a way in PB copy to specify how you're copying it, encoding. Prefer. Input is placed in as plain text unless it begins with the encapsulated PostScript file header or the rich text format file header. Yeah, I don't think I should be using this. Developing is finally fun again. I'm glad. How is everything going in general? Is morale back up or no? Hi, you want to sit down? You want to sit down and ruin my posture? Yeah, you do? Oh, I thought so. I thought so, cat. Oh my god, she's so soft. She must have just cleaned herself recently. What a good kitty cat. No, 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 don't get too comfortable yet. Let me be comfortable first. Okay, cat. Sit down. It's going downhill. Have you been looking into jumping ship still or no? I'm glad at least the development work is fun. Dandelion. Patootie, thanks for the resub. Happy 2 years. Happy pun anniversary. Time to show off on stream. Yeah, she knows. Yeah, we need to use something like this, and we need to copy to an image format. Is there a way to do that? Is there documentation for this? It's literally just copying text. All right, I'm not going to deal with this. This is a waste of time. All right, cool. So yeah, let's go back to what I was trying to do here. Did I even start an image? I don't even think I did. Oh, I did. But then didn't I have one of these tabs open that I already ran this through? It'd be nice if what we could do is just paste this in and have this work without needing to do anything extra. But yeah, it says it can't decode it because it's trying to interpret too much here. So I got to delete all of this stuff and then the ending thing. And then it works. Lame. Still intending to sit the storm out, but if there's no uplift at the end of the year, I'll consider it more seriously. Man, that is a long time to deal with low morale. But I wish you luck, and I do hope things get better. Can't you take a screenshot and just run that through a Python script to undo the dark mode thing? I mean, I can. All of these are just variations on the same theme, which is like, I got to write a tool either way. The idea of using the Python script that we had would be fine. I could just save what I have as a file and then load what was in the output as an image. I guess I didn't know how to load that as an image on the clipboard. So it'd have to be like 2 steps instead of 1 step. Okay, so during the intro, the tile maps fade in like this. We could fix that specific issue by putting the blank green space on the same layer as the terrain. But I think it may be nice to have a generic solution. Okay, let's delete this stuff. This cat is so warm. It's always so warm. Do we have anything about performance testing? No. I'll file one of these. Do some performance testing. It may be good to see what's taking the most time in Skeleseller. So we should run some .trace sessions, figure out what we can improve. I think the big one's going to be this. Has to do an O of N process involving Godot every time. Yeah. Started a writing challenge with a friend to make a short story, and I decided to write a fan-made backstory for Skeleseller since there was none, but now he ruined it. There was already one, though. Didn't you see the Skele rap? This cat. This cat is adorable. All right, so consider... Oh, this is Ramey's thing that he said, I think. Consider not allowing workers to pick up items when you don't have the shops. I can see it both ways. If we do this, then we shouldn't give a sword when beating the dragon since you wouldn't have the weapon shop yet. I mean, I think it'd be pretty easy to code this. I just wonder, should we code it? So if your workers don't pick up items for shops you don't have, then yeah, I think we should probably just do this. Yeah. Didn't consider it canon. So the creator of something who says that it's canon doesn't have the ability to actually make something canon. Easy enough to work around. Yeah. Disallow workers picking up items whose shops you don't own. Do you hear her making those noises? I don't know if that's audible. She stopped making them now. You can't? Okay. Can't be the source for your own document? Yeah. You can't write the lore for your own game. Ramey says so. There's a lot of workers picking up items whose corresponding shops. Okay, Ramey proposed this when there are only 2 points in the game that this can even happen. When you beat the volcano and when you beat the crypt. In each case, you'll get an item that you can't actually, that you may not be able to actually sell yet. If we make this change, then we should stop having the dragon drop a weapon since it may disappear on the ground. And it's worth so much money that that'd be really bad. Oh, now she's purring. Change website to say play on Steam instead of just wish list. All right, this one should be easy enough to do, but I don't think it's worth doing on stream right now. All right. Change skeleseller.com to say play on Steam rather than just wish list. Skeleseller. I'll just take a picture of this. Okay. Hey, 007 waifu. Could these have a special timer that doesn't run out? I mean, they could. Yeah, they could. I don't like making special rules for things though. I'd rather just have them drop an armor at that point. And if you still haven't built an armor shop, which you technically didn't have to, then you could lose the armor, and that's fine. The game gave you enough chances. All right, so the customer stuff. This is something about like adding flavor to customers. Add flavor to the town. Did we talk about this? Customers are adventurous to talk to each other, get hold some items off their head, get dust puffs. She's licking my finger now. How visible is that? Hi, cat. Do you want to lick? She does want to lick. How's use GitHub tickets and link to GitHub projects to use on the Blackboard? Yeah, I think I stopped using projects because I just didn't think it was that valuable for like, 2 people who are going to pay attention to it. But issues are definitely helpful. Although I'd say it's pretty common for GitHub repos to use issues. Yeah, so we don't have this written here. Do we have it anywhere else? Customer desire system, save and load customers, try to buy from displays that have that. Flavor text. Okay, that's kind of close to it. What do we have written here? My wife suggested this. Maybe you can click a customer when they have a thought bubble with an item that says they want, with an item that they want, and it would explain why they want their item. Could help add personality. Yeah, and I guess what we could say here is update. We could also show stats about that specific customer, e.g. how many items they've bought, how much they've paid, how many steps they've walked, etc. Paid, base, and tips. And this is related to saved customers. Cool. Okay, more gifts in the Steam page. Cat here to provide motivational support. She is. Also, hi, Luna. She's definitely like a big cuddle bunny now. We got her, what, 2 years ago? Yeah, like 2 years, a couple months ago. And at first she didn't want to sit on our laps at all. And now that's like her default mode, which is nice most of the time. But eventually my legs get tired and it becomes uncomfortable. Or when I'm coding, my posture is bad because I have to like reach over her and sit at weird angles. All right, more gifts. This I kind of want to do tomorrow, but I guess I'll file a thing. Add more gifts to the Steam page. Can I do this while I'm streaming? I always forget about this. I guess I need to stop recording my stream. So please get up. Please, 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 please. Please go sit somewhere else. Yes, good cat. Goodbye, cat. Oh. Okay, I can reposition. My legs are mine again. And I wrote this down somewhere about the dimensions. Where are those? Didn't I write this down? Well, I could have sworn. Could have sworn. Oh, maybe it's in here. Well, it kind of is. It was in a different thing. My drive trailer. Yeah, I put it in a document over here. Whoop. There we go. Okay, cool. So GIFs, I'll just do that. And we'll just copy paste all of this over to this issue. Try this out, think the dimensions. Yeah. I guess let's just put all these things like that, right? Yeah, sure. That's good. Cool. Create. Okay, then we'll put this issue over here. In this. Make or add GIFs to the Steam page. Cool. You can pick up the cat and place her elsewhere. That is monstrous behavior. The cat would not approve of that. All right, so I think Kip Boga suggested this one could have limited PvP. And I was like, he mentioned some mobile game, and he said, "Oh, they do this," and I'm like, "Yeah, but do they have? Is it like online to begin with?" He's like, "No." So I was kind of surprised by that. So they have PvP in a game that's typically not online. I just don't think it'd be very fun, and I don't know what would ever make me prioritize this feature. Like, how many people would have to ask for this explicitly? Like, hey, you know, it'd be awesome PvP. What if we had a PvP? Would it be fun? I just don't think so. So I think what we'll do is we'll just put it in the design doc under ideas, maybe some like wild ideas. Today, I think Kip Boga is the one who suggested having PvP. Yeah, leave it at that. Okay, now this one I'm very interested in just trying right now. What if we made a like a chronomancer in the game, and they could speed up the battle without changing the engine timescale? How hard would that be to do? And I think all we need to do is go into here and say, let's do delta times equal 4. And then same thing with the effect system. Process. That is not supposed to have happened. Process. Cool. And then any other systems that the battle system has? I guess the battle system itself has its own thing there. Why is time allowed? Oh, I see. Yeah, anything else? Battle system. Oh, where does this go? I don't know. I don't remember. All right, where do we make an ability system? Here. Battle system, ability system, effect system, and stage transition timer. So this would also need to be modified. Can you set a timer's like rate? Is there a thing that's equivalent to that? Auto start, editor, ignore timescale. Huh, interesting. Is there a way to update the timescale to be something specific? If not, we can obviously just change the time. I know we can do that. I just don't know if they have a property for this. Time left. No. Okay. Well, then we need to make this be this divided by 4. Anything else that we have? I guess any timers we ever use would need to follow by that though, huh? So we need to check to see. No, we can't even do this easily. Game source, scene scripts, timer. Yeah, there are too many of these. But probably none of the other ones matter. Oh, floating text would. Okay, let's just try this. See what happens. It's not dry enough. Yeah, we could probably cut down on some of the duplication. Also, hi Pepper and hey Miragor. Use a program or methodology to manage your personal life to the same depth you manage your development process. Yeah, generally. I would say the high level of this is I have a to-do list and it's organized in the same way. I have a daily section where it'll say like Monday, workout, whatever, do something else, Tuesday, so on and so forth. And then a backlog. And the backlog is separated into kind of personal stuff I want to talk to my wife about, and Skeleseller stuff that I need to file somewhere else. Generally, that sort of thing. I don't know. So yeah, pretty much the same thing you see me do on stream. Look at the size of that map. What map? Oh, this? Yeah. Okay, so let's try a battle now. It should be operating at 4x speed, but only this one battle should be. So it's working, but it looks really weird when animations are the same speed, floating text is the same speed. So we would need to modify a lot of things. The floating text wouldn't be too bad. We could add in a multiplier or something. And then instead of having this tween work at this rate, it could work at, let's just say, a rate of this divided by 4. Where do we have this? Without camera. I guess just here, divide by 4. Or just, why is this even a thing here? Yeah, just do this divided by 4, sure. And then get rid of this one. Okay, so that'll fix floating text. Then the projectiles won't get fixed this way. Efficient. So I will say this. You run into the same problem that we're trying to address this afternoon, which is that this document got out of control. Like we have 75,000 characters in this document. It's not really manageable at that point. So yeah, same thing with my personal to-do list. It's like there are always things to add. And I think what you need to do is be much more liberal about dropping things. It's very tough to do that because some things you can't realistically drop, right? Like if you don't take out the trash, you're just gonna have a bunch of trash in your place. So it's like you can defer that for some amount of time, but you can't drop it completely. And it's kind of that way for a lot of this stuff you might want to do. Like how long can you go without getting a doctor's appointment? And I mean, if you're lucky, you can go 10 years or something, but probably you shouldn't do that. Put priorities. Yeah, but what I'm trying to get at is I think you kind of have the same risk with work and personal life, which is that there are a lot of things that you should do, but and they're not even like a low priority. It's just you can avoid it for a long time. So you do avoid it. And with work stuff, maybe you eventually drop the project or something, but like with personal stuff, a lot of that's just going to exist for the rest of your life. Why not use the to-do list app? At least you have some metrics. A card system might also. But what would the metrics be good for? Probably less than the time I'm dead. But maybe the two things are related. Maybe the doctor could have stopped you from dying. All right, so now text should go faster, but projectiles are still going to be the same speed. Yeah, so text is showing up faster. Okay, I mean, those are all really, really simple changes. As far as projectiles go, I think if we start a battle with a mage, they're still going to shoot fireballs very slowly. I don't think it. I know that's going to be the case. We just need to wait for them to walk to the portal. Yeah, they're still going. Well, sorry, I should have clarified. The speed of the projectile itself is the same as what it was if I hadn't multiplied by 4 in the other places. So we need that to go at quadruple the speed toward the target as well. They're shooting them more often. Yeah. So what do I want to do with that? Because this is all handled by the navigation system. I guess we could just multiply its speed by a certain value, right? In fact, I could just go into Fireball and change the speed. I think it has, yeah, it has a speed right there. So we just multiply this by 4 and we're pretty much good to go, right? I always find time for something I enjoy to do, even regarding work. If we're talking about something that's very boring but should be done, it should be done in the first place because you'll keep changing its priority over and over again. Yeah, but I think this, I think it's very complex. So in order to stay motivated on a project, I think you need a balance of fun and boring work. Rather, let me put it this way. I think you need to have fun work every once in a while. So if all you have is like 2 months of boring tasks, you've pretty much got to say, like, even if those are the top priority ones, we still need to do something that's not top priority just to keep my attention. So I think it is a little bit difficult. Hey, Comp, we're just taking care of the today document. No, not for you, Kevin. No fun work for you. All right, so now projectiles should go at a 4x speed as well. Let me just speed this up there. Yeah, okay, so that's what I was trying to do. Now, here's what's interesting about this. We can combine this with the time scale. So if I set this to an 8x time scale, now battles are going to run in like next to no time. Look at that. So you're like hardly seeing anything play out here. And I can also enable auto battle. Auto battle should have been interesting. Isn't only the fireball spot up? Yeah. All we're doing is prototyping this thing. I'm not actually coding this right now. I just want to see what would it take to make like the The whole idea is this. We have 3 spells right now in the enchanter. What if we added a 4th one that said like time speed or something? And you click this and now all of your battles go faster, but not the town. So now your adventurers in the town aren't going to walk at like 10x speed like they do if I just change the entire engine time scale. The other thing about the engine time scale that this does is it changes every... Well, it doesn't have to change every timer though. But we even have notifications in the game, and the notifications go away faster too. Well, I guess we could have just said ignore time scale on the timer. Oh, it's also going to do stuff like this though, which I think would be kind of silly looking. Anyway. Okay, so it is not that hard to do this. So let's go file an issue. Chronomancer. Do we have this written down? Add a chronomancer, yeah. Okay, so I looked into the implementation of this, and it's not too bad. We just changed these things. So ability system, battle system, and effect system. Ability system, battle system, and effect system all need their delta values multiplied by some amount. Then the, I guess just instance.stage transition timer. Have its time reduced. What else? Floating text created through the battle should have its duration, queen duration reduced. And the last thing was projectiles should have their speeds increased. To be good for the battle simulator too. There's some reason why we can't just run battles at like 1000x speed. But yeah, you're right. I'll write that down. Doing it as a book, you'll force everyone to build the building only for getting it for speed of auto battles. Well, everyone's going to get the building regardless because they won't even know what this does. So they're going to build it. But then if all you care about is the speed of auto battles, we could just balance it so that it says like 3% faster battles or something. And you're like, yeah, okay, that's not bad, but I could also get like 50% more items or something. So maybe I'll just go for the items rather than just faster battles. Or I don't know, maybe something else. Anyway, the point is, as long as we have some knobs we can tweak for this, then we can balance it such that it's not the only thing you ever want to do. I have something in the morning tomorrow, and I've checked all my calendars 10 times, and there's nothing. Now I'm afraid I'm going to get a call at some point that I'm missing for something important. I think when I have that nagging feeling, there usually is something, and I need to examine a little bit more closely. I know you said it's been for a week, but maybe there was something that you have forgotten about. It speeds up a lot without breaking, something like 10x. Yeah, that's true. All right, so this really isn't too bad to do. And I'm glad we looked into that. Consider making a small hammer spoon dispatch UI like a stream deck that will let me toggle mute, run the outro, etc. Be like homepage riser in a sense. I like this idea. This is... Yeah, I think this would be cool. Then like bind it to something like... What would I bind it to? What is 7? What's alt 7 doing? Nothing? It's doing nothing. Let me see if I can find this. What I call this Adam's apple. Hammer spoon. And window navigation. There it is. All right, I have alt 1 through 6. I don't have an alt 7. Alt 7. Yeah, that could definitely work. Wait a second. Wait a second. That's not alt 7 that I pressed, right? That was a paragraph symbol. What is that? What are you doing? It's in my nav on the G key? Nav win? What might you look like? I don't know what this means. I don't know what I did here. Oh, there it is. I see. Okay, I got it. No, it is Alt 7. I guess Alt 7 is just how you type a paragraph symbol on Mac. Okay. What's Alt 8? Okay, whatever. Yeah, I think we should do that. I don't think this is something we should do now, and it's not a Skeleseller issue. So bind it to something like Alt 7. Why'd that not work? Alt 7 or Alt 8 or something like that. Yeah. Do I have Alt 0 on the keyboard? No. That wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. Okay. Wait, what else do we have? Nothing. All right, great. Is there a more usable key? Alt M is supposed to be mute. Does it even work? No, it doesn't. Yeah, this is a problem maybe with OBS. Like maybe if OBS has the focus. Yeah, then it mutes. You can see this muting when I press this short. But outside of here, it doesn't mute. It just types a mu, which is just a t sound away from being what I want. Still talking about the speed of battles. Maybe we'll do that based on all hero levels combined. That'll also motivate you to level up characters. I just wanted to look into it for now. I'm not actually gonna code it right now. So yeah, there are a lot of different ways we could do it. I think having it be either a spell at the enchanter or having it be a special building, I think either of those would be interesting. And then in subsequent runs, we could have it so that maybe you start with a chronomancer and you, yeah, I don't know, you, maybe it's just always running. I don't know. I'm going to write that down too, I guess. Yeah, note if we're going to have challenge modes, it may be worthwhile to have the chronomancer be separate from the enchanter. That way you can start with just the chronomancer and not have to wait as long for battles. Maybe you can start a new file with 5% faster battles. A magical pocket watch. Actually, that's another kind of interesting thing. I might as well write that down. Remy made this joking suggestion. But actually having an item that serves as fuel for the chronomancer could be interesting. It wasn't a joke. Well, fine. I'll delete the word joking then. Oh, and I guess also the but actually part. Yeah. Day 2 of issues of damage logs. Wait, hang on. I read this message to myself, but I'm not sure I totally understand. I had my game damage logs for crit, normal damage, chain lightning damage work so well and fade out with Angular HTML TypeScript alone. Now I introduced Pixie.js and it's day 2 of issues with damage logs. Given the emote you used, I'm not sure issues would typically mean a bad thing. Like, what is the sentiment of your message? Are you struggling or are you not struggling? All right, I do want to do this. I think this would be a fun little stream project to work on, but I wonder how hard would it be to just do it now? No, I shouldn't do it now. Natchanex, thanks for resubbing. Welcome back. By default, assume for me now. Well, there's also a wowie at the end of it. It's a bad thing. Okay, gotcha. I don't think Craigasm is the right emote for a bad thing. But I wish you the best of luck. The logging stuff shouldn't really have anything to do with Pixie. Pixie should just be a renderer for your logs if you want it to be. But like the log system should hopefully be unaffected. Just bound to Ramey's period key. That makes sense. I wonder what things are like at work for him. So looking up the white SVG thing in Quick Look, it doesn't seem like anyone's fixed it. Many people complaining about it online. Here's a nice set of Quick Look plugins, though. Color code, preview source code file. I don't want that. Preview plain text files. No, 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 no. Wait, what? That's actually pretty nice. Yeah, I don't have that now, do I? So if I look at, why can't I double click that? If I look at any of these graphics, well, 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 that would be nice. It's the rendering. Okay, got you. A spotlight to display the dimension, size, and DPI of an image in the title bar instead of the file name. Also preview some unsupported formats. Wait, instead of the file name? I want the file name there too. What are the... Okay, hold on a second. What is this person's preview thing? Whenever I'm scrolling through random anime women, apparently, on stream, it always catches me off guard. All right, I'll link this in chat. But very much a... whatever that thing was. All I wanted to see is where do they put the file names? They do a panda.jpg here. Why would people use this as their demonstrative image in GitHub? That's one of my core memories. Oh man, that day I was crying laughing about that. I mean, I know it's captured on camera and everything, but I don't think anything on stream has ever caught me as off guard as that did. Okay, so how do you trust Quick Look plugins? Security, because couldn't they just read any files? Man, I gotta just stop using Bing altogether. I'd love to have a button that just says research on Google. No one's commented on this. It's reading. Are you saying it can read files? Because I know it can read files, but like, could it exfiltrate data? Are these things allowed to have internet access? Yeah, I don't know what the limitations are or how you know that you can even trust any of these things. I don't know. I don't really want to install a bunch of these for kind of no reason. How many Bing points have you gotten? It's been like several $100s worth, which is why I use Bing. But I do think it's a very, very inferior search engine now. I think before it wasn't so bad, but something changed in the last year or two. And it just seems like there are a lot of searches I just don't trust Bing to have done sufficiently. Anyway, that one would have been nice. What about this one? Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Yeah, don't care about that. Peak. Don't need. Don't need. Where's the one about SVGs? I didn't even see it here. Why did Kevin link this? Oh, huh. Okay. Well, I don't. Yeah, this is the only one that I think might be nice. So it's just a question of, do I trust this enough to install it? Like, I'm not going to look through all the code. And even if well, I guess it hasn't been modified for a long time. All right, maybe we'll install this one. Consider installing this. Okay. I do think this would be a fun stream project to work on, this Hammer Spoon script thing. So maybe we'll do that in the next some number of weeks. What would we have to do for this? Make a Hammer Spoon script that has communication over a WebSocket to OBS. Oh wait, it doesn't even need to do that, does it? Because I already have somewhere in here, I have the outro thing. Where is that? What's it even called? Change OBS scene. PNPM star OBS WebSocket client. Wow. I mean, I guess we could do this. It just might be tedious. What is this even doing? Code OBS. README. Well, that's disappointing. Main.ts. This just has a scene name and then, oh, interesting. OBS itself exposes this, so I wouldn't need to do anything special, I think. In fact, I wonder if there's already an OBS thing for muting. All right, let me take a look as long as I'm already on this right now. Project not maintained has been killed. See issues for details. First line in the README. Well. I guess we can remove even this from the list then, huh? See first line in the README. We got to be very careful about scrolling down too far here. See issues for details. Tried this on 2 machines with a freshly installed macOS Catalina. Doesn't appear to be working. Don't plan on installing anytime soon. So someone showing the cause. Nonsense. This plugin has been 64-bit only. Issue is that this and other QL plugins are no longer recognized as created by an identified developer due to notarization enforcement. Man, why this get 61 thumbs downs? I think this is totally valid for someone to say, I don't want to spend the time or the money on this. That's unfair, people. Because I don't think notarization is free. It costs $100 a year, doesn't it? Anyway, I'm not going to read the rest of this. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I don't need this that badly, so I'm done. People want their free cake and do nothing for it. Well, yeah, but I think it's different when there's a direct monetary cost and someone saying, like, you as the maintainer should absorb that. It's a little different when there's a bug and the maintainer's just not fixing it or something. It's like, okay, I can understand a little bit of entitlement there. But, yeah. I guess they weren't the nicest in their response either. Maybe that's what the thumbs down was for. But I feel like the sentiment of the message of, like, I don't want to do this is totally fine. What was I about to do? I was about to look up OBS's web socket interface. OBS web socket interface. Where do you find their API for this? Remote control guide. They must have some way to mute, right? WebSocket clients. Did I get a specific client from this? I did. OBS WebSocket JS. I don't even see that listed here. Do they have the documentation here for this? TypeScript support, debugging. What did I even call here? Set current program scene name. Is that in this? It is, but where are the docs that tell you what you can use? I'll just search for that, I guess. Aha, protocol. Yeah, nice. Okay, so can we mute this way? Get input mute, toggle input mute. Here it is. Toggle the audio mute state of an input. We need the input name or the UUID. All right, mine is called mic/aux. So let's go try that out. So we're gonna save this. Wait, first let's open up package.json. Yeah. tsx main.ts. Okay, so let's save this as testeroni.ts and then go have it call toggle input mute. And we need the input name, and it is mic/aux. Okay, now we don't need usage here. We don't need that. Scene name is not going to be a thing. And now we just run tsx testeroni and it should mute my microphone. Wait, no, I gotta run something else. pnpm tsx testeroni. Password is not set. All right, whatever. I'm just gonna change this. It still says password is not set. It's supposed to come from an env file, right? Process.env. pnpm start. Does this set it? Password. No. M file is usually in the root. The M file should be here. It's there. mdiv. Oh, I never set the environment. Yeah. My bad. Yeah. So pnpm start. Right before this is node mdev. Yeah. So I just need to run this. Whoops. I had that paste weirdly. All right, it worked. Neat. That was easy. Also, hey, Paratroid. Is the issue that the hotkey only works with OBS focused? If so, I'm pretty sure there's a setting to change that. So it unreliably works. There is a setting to change it, and I already have it set to be global. And it worked on Windows. Clear, add, revert. Yeah. Yeah, like, let me see if Chrome has the focus. So it works from Chrome if I press that shortcut. Yeah, in fact, let me just show this here. So when Chrome has the focus, okay, it's working, I think, all of the time. But when this has the focus, oh, it's working now. It was not working earlier. Oh, weird. But it's also typing on top of that, which I don't like. Anyway, I also think a dispatch UI would be nice, so I don't need to keep going to this and then pressing up and then getting the wrong command and then not timing it right. I might as well just have my own little virtual stream deck. And I think it'd be a fun project to work on. We're not supposed to do it now. I was just curious and keep letting myself get dragged away by this stuff. Do you like your keyboard layout? In my mind, I'd like one more column of keys. I like it, yeah. I think having another column would probably not provide too much for me, and it would make the keyboard bigger, and I like the idea of having a pretty small keyboard. But let me think about this. What would I put there? I don't even know what I would put there. Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of interesting not having to move your pinky finger at all to the sides. It's only ever controlling these 3 keys each. Whereas if you did have another column, you'd have to move your hand a little bit, or at least your pinky. You'd also get 6 more keys. So I know it's a trade-off. Okay, yeah, so toggle input mute. So we just got to save a reference to this website and put this down here. Reference site with all of the APIs. And then as long as we're at it, I guess let's modify the README of this. What this does, or overview, I guess. In fact, this should have just, I do things this way. Okay, so this is a very simple program to control OBS via its WebSocket API. See this? See the official document. See OBS's documentation here. And then there's the JavaScript library I use here. And then the JS library I use. Yeah. All right, that's it. I want to check that in. Let's go revert all of this stuff. Let's delete this change that I made. Let's delete this entire file that I made. Oh, I guess we could put this at the bottom too. Not that it's hard to do, but yeah, so delete this. And then go find that, get status. Why did package.json change? Oh, wait. Did I did I check something in there? Because I'm not paying attention. I don't know why that changed. Huh. So then the package lock would have changed too. That part makes sense at least.
Whoops.
But I didn't intend to change that. Maybe it's just because of the node version that was used. Fine with me. It's probably something that happened when I ran pnpm. All right, so what are we doing here? Git commit dash am. Actually, we shouldn't even do that. I'll check this in as two separate things.
Whoops.
So this is update dependency. Yeah. I don't think I even meant to do this. It shouldn't cause any problems. And then this is update readme. Now, what is the remote for this? Adam learns. Okay, so then we can push. Cool. And then just close out of this. Okay, yeah. Still a project for later. All right, let's keep looking through this. So it's just a way of getting the main character to look human again at the end of the game. We may have to answer why any other skeletons can possibly exist if you alone can come back to life. Yeah, so the idea here was we have graphics in the game for... Yeah, like we have a graphic in... Oh, let me just load this thing, GIMP. It's another thing I don't like about the quick look thing. We have a graphic of you as a human walking around. So Campbell Soup suggested, what if you could get back to human form? And I'm not like... I think I dislike the idea more than I like the idea, only because if you can get back to being a human, then why can't any of the other skeletons? Or maybe they all can, in which case we'd have to draw graphics for all of them. I think I'm going to just drop this. Yeah, I think I'm going to just drop this. And I think we need to be very, like I said, liberal about dropping all this stuff. Okay, screen space, text, show all this stuff in screen space. Didn't I stash this somewhere? Stash this, yeah. Get stash list. Skella forever. That's right, helpless hero. So I started working on both of these? No, I did the floating text. Why is that stashed? Get stash pop 1. What are you doing? No, I definitely did this. Yeah, I definitely did this. And what's this? Yeah, I don't need any of this stuff. I think I'm gonna get rid of this. How do I not accept this? There. Perfect. Yeah, so now just get rid of all that. Cool. So the only thing I have in my stash should now be the one chain. Oh, why did I not get rid of it? How do you delete something? Pop, drop. I want to drop something. I want to be very careful to drop the right thing. Okay, now get stash list. Good. Now I should probably delete drop from my history so I don't accidentally ever do that again. Z shell history. Prevent lines from going into it by preceding them with a space. Oh, well, that would have been nice to remember. Okay, fine. Anyway, to remove it, just edit Z shell history, then make a new shell. Yeah, sure. Engage privacy mode. I don't think there should be anything in the history that I don't want people seeing, but you never know. All right, done. So now if I open a new shell and type get stash drop, it should not auto. Uh-oh. Oh, maybe I ran drop more than once. All right, hang on a second. Yeah, I did run it more than once. Okay. All right, so now if I type get stash drop, yeah, no, now it doesn't autocomplete. What does my symbol layout look like? You can take a look at this to see all of it. It is right there. So I generally use the left side of my keyboard for symbols. So like KC mins is a minus sign, then the shifted version of that. Down below it is quote, then the shifted version of that, then a semicolon, then the shifted version of that. And then braces and stuff. Hey again, Mars. Actually, now that I think about it, do I ever actually use the colon there? I do sometimes use semicolon there. I don't know how I type a colon. When do I ever even need to? A switch statement, I guess? Switch foo. Case bar. No, if I'm typing English before it, then I'm going to use a colon differently. Yeah, I don't know if I ever use that. What am I using to autocomplete in the terminal? I personally use warp, but it looks like you're using something else. I think I have all that here. Oh, I use colons quite a bit. I just don't necessarily use them for my symbol layer is what I'm saying. Like I can type them by like I have a comma and period combo that if I press them both, it makes a semicolon. So if I hold shift and press them both, then it makes a colon. Then I also in my number layer have a colon. And when I hold shift, it turns into a semicolon. And then I also have it in my symbol layer. And I think I might have a fourth one somewhere. But I'm saying of the three ways I know for sure that I can type it, I really only ever use one of those ways, I think. But that redundancy is intentional. Like when you're typing numbers, every once in a while you do need a colon while typing numbers. And this way I don't need to switch out of a layer. And it's mostly for IPv6 addresses. But it's very infrequent that I tend to do that. What was I about to answer? Oh yeah, so Adam's apple. Someone had asked, what do I use for autocomplete? I'm not actually totally sure what I use for that. Let's look at shell. Z shell. Plugins. One of these three files probably has it. I don't know. Auto suggestions, maybe this. Ah, yeah, there it is. Auto suggestions. Yeah, so it's Z Presto or Presto, I guess. It's not AI. It's just based on what I've already typed in the past. It'd be nice if it were AI. Yeah, it's this. Auto completion. Yeah, I'll link this in. Warp does auto or AI, I mean. Warp Z shell. Where does it say what it is? Well, there it is. What is warp? AI and your dev team's knowledge built in. Yeah, interesting. Is this a paid thing? There's a refer a friend and earn reward, so it sounds like it's probably paid. It is? It's not? How do you get rewards for something that's free? They don't have a pricing thing at all? Oh, that's interesting. Wrong warp? I think this is the right one based on what Goldskin's talking about. Oh, it's in beta? Okay. So they're probably going to charge at some point. Anyway, I will say this. It is, and the times I need to come up with a command for the terminal, I don't mind just going to ChatGPT and typing it in. And I think that is a pretty good use of ChatGPT. It's like an easily verifiable thing that you don't feel like figuring out for yourself. Hey, you got to be hooked first. By the way, on the topic of typing colons, so hyphen is another thing that has like a million different contexts, right? So either you have a hyphenated word, some word that you need to type, or you're typing a minus sign, or it's in the context of code somewhere, or file names or something like that. There's a lot of different contexts. So I have like 4 ways of typing a hyphen on my keyboard. All right, so all the screen space stuff, this is still stashed, and I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time dealing with this. So let's just file it for now. This is for what? The exclamation mark and what, something else? No, there are 2 issues here. Probably need to fade it in so it doesn't show on top of smoke. Ugh, I'm probably never gonna do this, but fine, let's file it anyway. Show this in screen space. Right now it's in camera space, so that means it can render blurrily thanks to upscaling. And then we should probably take a picture of that. The joy of hyper triage. All right, so we just got to build anything like this and then set the game scale to 3 and then zoom out all the way. And there's our blurry picture. Then wait for it to wiggle. Yeah. This is a 3x game scale, but with the camera fully zoomed out. All right. What's your game engine? I'm using Godot for this. Also, welcome in. Bitband. All right, so what are we gonna write here now? Yeah, this. We probably need to fade it in so it doesn't show on top of smoke. And then can we get the stash as a patch, or do I need to pop it first? I don't have any changes, right? Yeah, all right, let's pop this. And then let's patch. There, yeah, that'll work. Okay, now we open that up. And then we paste this into here. Code or work in progress code. I don't remember the context of this, so maybe it's not even worth consulting. Diff. There. Overview. Okay, so that should hopefully work. How big is the diff? Ugh, yuck. Well, whatever. Like I said, I'm probably just never doing this. Probably just going to leave this forever. In fact, maybe it's just worth closing it now. Yeah, I don't think I want to. I just don't think this issue is important enough to care about. So I'm just going to close it now. Yeah. How do you achieve graphics or art? So for me, you can take a look at the credits. I don't know if you're asking in general, but like I didn't make any of them. Do you have any tips for typing fast? Yeah, I wonder if I have this written somewhere though that I can find for you. Ah, here it is. Nice. Oh, it's not quite the thing. Okay, well, let me say this once then. Okay, let's say you have a sentence you want to type, like, how are you doing? And actually, you can see I just made a mistake as I typed it. So I typed something like that, right? What you should do if you're typing something out, I think just like type your stream of consciousness in a text editor. And basically, as soon as you make a mistake, press enter and retype everything you typed up until that point. And probably you'll make another mistake in doing that. And you'll eventually realize that like, oh, here is where I'm making mistakes. So then you can slow down and really try to like drill in that word into your muscle memory and then move on. Because I think typing faster is partially learning how to type properly in the first place, and then partially reducing your errors. And a lot of ways that you reduce your errors is just by practicing on the same word over and over and over. And if you ever go to something like Monkey Type and you try to type one of these in the typing test that you have here, learning the individual words I think is good, but typically, and if you type the word what, the next thing that's probably going to appear might be like are. Or, there's only so many words that would probably appear after what, such that you not only get used to typing the word what, but you get used to typing the words after it. So like, are you doing is a very common thing to type after what. And you can figure out what all these, all the different word combinations are by just using your autocomplete on your phone or something. But that's why I don't think tests like this are totally indicative of how quickly you really can type. Hey, Retarius. Yeah, by the way, this is the point. I've talked about this a lot, but there are the 4 Ds of to-do lists, and it's do, drop, delegate, and defer. So something's either going to get done or it's not going to get done. And if it is going to get done, it's either going to get done by you or not by you, and it'll get done now or later. Those are the only ways you can get things off of your to-do list, right? So I think people underutilize drop. And this is the best thing for your to-do list because it means you have no work to do. But it's also one of the hardest ones. Because sometimes you're like, but what if I need it in the future? Is there any free demo of your game playable on Windows? Yeah. You can check it out there. Only typing with 2 to 4 fingers instead of all of them. Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily result in a drop of speed. I've seen people type with like 2 or 3 fingers and still be pretty fast. But I think that'll probably increase your pain over time. At least there's a much higher risk of that. Okay, so we got rid of that. Now screen space text shows on top of battle windows. Very easy to repro with the enchanter. Much more obvious when you move battle windows. Yeah, I'm just going to file this issue. Screen space text can show on top of battle windows. Copy as markdown. Go to our little base 64 stupid thing over here and delete all of this. If only I had a tool to do this. There. Okay, so this is very easy to repro with the enchanters, and you can spam click spellbooks to get screen space error messages. It's also much more obvious when you move battle windows. Gonna have to have battle windows show on top of only part of the UI layer, or just add the screen space text to another part of the scene hierarchy. So hasty thoughts on how to fix this issue there. You wait for GTA 6 or Nintendo Switch 2. I've never played any of the Grand Theft Auto games, so I have no real hype built up around it. But I played Nintendo games pretty much my whole life, so I will probably buy a Nintendo Switch 2. But the games I'm looking forward to most are Kirby Air Riders and DK Bonanza. I think those games look interesting. I don't think I'll probably buy Mario Kart, and that's a launch title. I think a lot of people are hyped about Mario Kart and are going to get the game on launch, but I don't even think it's a bad game, by the way. I liked whatever the last Mario Kart was. I didn't buy that either. But it's just not for me, I think. Is it a good beginner engine or too intimidating for a first shot? I've seen mixed opinions on that topic. I think it's good for beginners, yeah. I think GDScript is very approachable. And I'm pretty impressed at what self-proclaimed non-programmers have done using GDScript in Godot. And I also think it's pretty accessible. Godot isn't such a sprawling surface that it's super confusing to get into, or like, how do I use, which of the 6 systems will work for this thing? I think they've done a pretty good job at keeping things kind of together. And it's mature enough now where you probably won't run into like commonly encountered problems that are unsolved still. All right, show this off on a short or on Blue Sky. I mean, we're past the time where this has been done. I think I'm just going to delete this for now. And then this was make some short form content. I did message Golden Gun about this, although I don't know if they've been in the stream in a while. But yeah, I do want to ramp up marketing. Use .NET or GScript. I'm using C#, yeah. With all of Unity's bad moves. Yeah. I mean, I think Godot is good on its own as well. So I think Unity shooting themselves in the foot to some extent. Sure, that funnels some people into Godot, but I think they wouldn't stay with Godot unless they liked it. And I at least like Godot. Why does it say 73,000? Is that really all I've done so far? Oh man. This is a nightmare. Okay, well, let's write that down. 73,400, which just went up by 33 characters by me typing this. So in an hour and a half, we've gotten rid of about 4,000 characters. That's not bad. So now if we do 73,000 divided by 4,000 times 1.5, we're just 27 hours away from being done with this. Really would be a week of triage, but we are probably going to drop a lot of these things. Note to self, the key to getting money in Skeleseller is to turn off the extractor. Delete this line after reading it next. Well, that was easy. Yeah, the reason I wrote this down is because I've played the game a lot, and it was one of the big things that I realized. Let me turn this back to normal. Which is, if you have this lever here and it's on, your workers are going to bring stuff over there. This potion's worth 3 gold. So as soon as they bring this here, it's like, well, bam, there goes 3 gold I could have had. And now they're going to go pick up another one. It's like, there goes 3 gold again. And that's obvious. It's not like this is a secret or anything. That's how the game works. But it's surprising how much money you lose by having this lever be on. And if you just turn it off, then instead of going to your extractor, they'll just bring it to a shop and you'll sell it. Didn't you keep up with the Unity case? Did they try any more funnies? I think they just lost trust. They ousted the CEO under which that decision was made. And they backpedaled on the decisions as well. It's just astounding though what thought process must have gone into that. I guess that's why they say hindsight is 2020 though, right? Because ahead of time they're probably like, we're just leaving money on the table. Why don't we charge people for installing our games? Maybe because people hate that idea. All right, manually feeding either slime should probably get its dialogue to close just in case you accidentally opened it. Yeah, this is a pretty good thing to do. But there was all that item dragging stuff that we have, right? Where's that? Maybe this. Yeah, this is already kind of done in the radial menu. Yeah. Short grace period. I'm just going to close this. 793 addressed the bigger part of this. So I think that's good enough for now. All right, anything else? I didn't write this down anywhere. Maybe it's in my mega to-do list. I don't see it anywhere. Also, we're probably never going to do this, right? Add magical chest in the storeroom. I'll just leave it for now. Oh, I think we added this already. Items, NPCs, the portal, buildings. I added them to those two, I think. Let's take a look. Yeah. It's not on the extractor lever. That's kind of funny. And it's on buildings. No, it's not on the buildings. Okay, so it's on like weird things. Update. It's only missing from some things now. The extractor lever, the town hall, and I guess items. Hey, Caleb, I'm doing well. How's it going for you? There's a lot more convoluted and you have to do the math to understand it. Some people think Epic may go out of business if they can't figure out their money situation. Can't figure out their money situation? What money situation? I thought Fortnite was basically printing enough money where they can be involved in like years long legal battles with Apple and Google and whatever. Can you talk to Nintendo to release your game on their platform? Yeah, I think they have some like pretty open system for doing that. They want games on their platform, and indies have released their games on there. I think the path to launching Skeleseller on the Nintendo Switch would look something like this. Like launch on desktop, then get it working for Steam Deck, and then consider the Switch and probably what other consoles I might want. But yeah, this might be something we do after Next Fest. It might be something we do before Next Fest, actually, now that I think about it. If we just have a bunch of blank time, maybe we do get controller support in a better situation. Work on controller support if there's time before Next Fest. What is the Steam Deck? You haven't seen this device? This device? That's a Steam Deck. Switch eShop doesn't seem to discriminate very much which games they put on it. Yeah. They've won for now. Apple's still appealing. Oh, yeah. I heard about that. Okay, did I actually write that down? No, I didn't. Wait, did I even... Oh, God. What have I done? Yeah, I was going to put this in an issue, but I never found the issue about dragging things. No, we don't have one. We got to look into making item dragging better, I guess. So at least at the time of writing, it's pretty easy to accidentally open the slime's dialogues. A decent amount of the time, you are dragging several items to the slime. So the next time you drag, it could just close that dialogue for you. Take care, Biban. All right, farm perk, auto harvest. After 20 seconds of reaching full maturity, crops harvest themselves. I like that idea. It's basically saying that there's an upper bound on how long your crops can remain unharvested. We should probably do some amount of analysis of how long they remain unharvested for now, because there is an upgrade that lets you manually harvest. I like the idea. I do like the idea. And it's probably not that hard to code. So I guess we could just add it. And then if people don't want it, then they just don't use it. Add farm perk to auto harvest crops. So note at the time of writing, workers will automatically harvest for you, but it's the lowest priority thing that they can do. I think we should add a perk where after 20 seconds of reaching full maturity, crops harvest themselves. I'll put my stupid quote in parentheses there. This would just put an upper bound on how long you could have crops for, not having to tend to them. I suspect this would be a late game upgrade, and I also think we should figure out how long crops remain unharvested in practice. Yeah. Would that mean workers would prioritize harvesting crops? No, I was just thinking that the crops just magically like float out of the farm. Yeah, they just disappear or something. I should probably clarify that in there, huh? I.e., this wouldn't require your workers to interact with the crops. Made it just in time to wish you a good week. Nice. Hey, Craster. If we end up building up customers more, it'd be cool if they start glowing occasionally and then buy out a whole shop. Maybe this only happens when a shop is overstocked or has skeletons waiting for it. I think it's kind of a cool thing. I mentioned that thing about customer flavor somewhere. Where is that? Where's that indeed? This one? Is there any flavor text? Okay, so this is going to turn into just customer flavor stuff. Oh man. All right, fine. So other customer related ideas, if we're adding personality, could have a customer glow every so often and then buy out an entire shop. Maybe customers have special abilities or something like this that can happen every so often. I don't know. All right, I think mushrooms should be harvestable in addition to apples. We should probably just read all the mushroom tiles, convert them to objects, and have them spawn mushrooms every so often. Actually, I think you can manifest scenes as tile map sources, so I could just draw them in on the tile map. Yeah, fine. Make mushrooms harvestable. This is pretty much just like apples. There's a way with a tile map layer. What's it called? Scene source? Tile set scene collection source. I'll just say that tile set scenes collection source exists. So we can probably just make a mushroom scene, paint it in the tile map, and then have them spawn on timers. Clicking them would give you 1G, just like how apples work. Yeah. All right, quest progress text should really be in screen space too. I think that would be even more annoying to do though. Maybe we just put the whole board in screen space and change its scale on the fly. Man, all of this stuff is obnoxious. I guess another way of solving this stuff though would be to just address the blurriness and upscale a whole bunch. And then wait, is that even true what I'm saying? No, we couldn't do that. We need to render the entire world at like an 8x scale. I mean, we could do that, but we shouldn't do that. I just think this is another one of those issues I don't care about. Work so hard that your team calls you every other minute because you're so reliable. Okay, here's the issue I'm talking about. You start a quest. We have this board, shows you a potion graphic, shows you some text. The text, as you zoom out, becomes less and less readable. Now, we could render this in screen space so that it's rendering as like an 8 pixel tall font here, and here it's rendering at 72 or something like that. What we're doing right now is we're always rendering it at some size, and then when you zoom out, it's just going to look blurry. So this is not a big deal, and I don't think it's an easy fix either. Although one way that it would be an easy fix is to throw this into a dedicated UI at the upper left. So like, yes, you're on a quest, and yes, this shows up and it's kind of blurry, but then you always see in screen space up here, like, oh, potion 0 out of 12, and that's just there. So I think that's probably the better way to do that. And I'm just going to delete this for now. Why file it if I'm just going to close it? Still need to finish battle map changes. What is this? Oh yeah, I never did that. Okay, well, it's already filed, so I guess we don't need to do anything about that. I think it's worth taking a quick break here so I don't get like super burned out on this stuff. But this has been helpful to look through this. We're going to get to a bunch of feedback lists and just other stuff. But yeah, we've gotten rid of like 5,000 characters. Not too bad. All right, is it jump time? It's jump time. Okay, have fun, chat. Join, then jump. Try to get to the top. I'll be back in a little bit. Hello again. Close the game. You know who else is back? It's a cat. Hi, cat. You just cannot get enough laugh time today, huh? Okay. What a good cat. Use your Adam Abby emotes if you got them. All right, found a super annoying bug. Mouse anchoring inside the game means you can't move the window around in windowed mode. Whoop, you okay, cat? If you try and move the window in windowed mode, it gets thrown off screen. Yes, we already have an issue filed for this. And I'll just add this there. Context. All right, does that work? Yeah, nice. Cool, sounds good. Delete. Hi, she's just looking at me. Look at all this love. Got past building a farm. Person built the farm. Read what the farmer said. Got the lever. Never actually leveled up. Asked for the save file. They have 0 sludge. They did get extractor training. Man, this is so difficult. So this person had come into the stream and said something like, I couldn't figure out how to level up. And they read the text about how to use the farm. Then they got a perk for the farm. They turned off the extractor, and they basically like got into a situation where they didn't know what to do. And I don't know how much they tried to figure it out, but they couldn't get themselves unstuck, or like didn't care to, and stop playing the game. And I wonder if it's worth even trying to do something to retain this sort of person. Like, we have a lot of ways that the game tries to tell you this stuff already. And like this perk tells you there's a lever on the side to control this. The farmer themselves tells you that you can drop potions in the extractor. They apparently read this. I just don't know how much we should be like rendering a giant arrow pointing at this thing. So I think I'm gonna just delete this. Yeah, I'm gonna just delete this for now, because I've never heard that feedback from somebody else playing the game. All right, remove color from floating text parameters and just use BB code. This would be nice to do, but it's very just low priority to do. Yeah. Write a script for OBS that'll auto restart my monitor capture when I start the stream so I never have to do it manually. We'll throw this down here at the bottom. But yeah, I think this would be a fun project to do at some point. Maybe when I'm feeling bored in the next like 4 weeks. All right, what do we got next on here? Consider removing the settings for showing loot and battle stats. No one ever seems to change them. Yeah. I don't know who'd ever turn them off. And if anyone ever turns them off, we probably just want them off for everybody, right? Like, here's what happens right now. We show the loot you get at the top of the battle window, and we show you the stats at the bottom. There's now no longer a problem with showing this stuff. Like, I don't think you can render off screen or anything. And as I mentioned, there are settings to turn these off. So there, that's it. Now that's all that shows here. Zico, thanks for subbing. Maybe a toggle in settings to show or hide them. What are we talking about? Are we talking about the stats I was just talking about? These ones? Because what I'm saying is I don't think anyone ever turns these off. I don't think they even look for this setting. And it's just polluting the settings. It's adding another test surface. One of the things you always need to consider too is like, okay, we have this battle screen, right? But now you can have any of 4 different options. You can either have like one on, the other off, or one off, the other on, or both off, or both on. And you need to test basically all of these scenarios or just sort of trust that they're going to work. So by removing the options, now we only have, or by removing the settings, we only have this. They're both on all the time. So now no one's setup can be different from my setup. So there's less for me to care about or test. There's less for people to read in this screen. The screen's already getting too big. I think I already have a million reasons for not allowing people to turn this off. So yeah, I think we should just remove them. Yeah. Okay. Remove the settings for... Why do I keep closing the game? I'm not closing the game. Okay, good. All right, let's take a picture of this. Show loot and show stats. Showing loot and stats on the battle screen. I don't think... So, when these were off by default a very long time ago, no one ever sought them out to turn them on. Now that they're on, no one ever seems to turn them off. We should just remove them and keep them on by default. Use this mode to bait some subscriptions. It worked. It worked, Zico. We got you now. Feel like they could be good debug output when changes are made to that area of the game, but not really needed for gameplay. They being these 2 features? Like, you see the potion as being a debug thing? Because this is a functional thing for players. And so are these, by the way. Like, a player should probably know, hey, here's how long the battles are taking as an indication. The stats. You mean these stats? Are you consider these debug for you? Because as a player, wouldn't you want to know this stuff? Sorry, I'm blocking it with my camera. It's how long the battle took, how much damage you did, and your health. Okay, that's very interesting. Do you consider it to be debug in every game you play? Like if you played a Diablo style game, would you not want to see how much damage you're doing? Because I guess I want to understand who would be turning these things off. And yeah, I get that if you think that's just extra information, then you'd hide it. But even then, it's like people aren't seeking out the option. This cat is yawning a lot. How visible is this on the screen? Okay, yeah, pretty visible. I never have OBS that large. Yeah, maybe it's just me. Well, no, I'm actually curious. Like when you play other games, if they have stats, do you actively seek to turn them off? Although I guess we need to think of a game that's sort of like that. Like, I don't know, you play a city builder game and you turn off how many villagers you have or something, or... Because I want to understand the psyche of someone who does that. Is it that you consider it clutter, that you don't consider it functional? Is it too much information? I'd say enough people have asked for these. Oh yeah. I'm gonna file this issue. I just want to understand, as long as someone's here and we're on the context that on the topic, that we should find out the full depth of this. Yeah, let me just file this. I don't care much about that stuff myself, but I know a lot of people who get great enjoyment seeing their big DPS numbers. Interesting. Okay. Well, as I mentioned, I don't think people really sought to turn these off. The thing that we could do, by the way, we could just remove the settings from the settings menu and everything else works exactly the same way. Like they're still saved to a save file. You could turn them off through the save file. And in fact, I could even just write that. Easiest way to do this is to just remove the settings from the menu without actually changing any of the code underneath. Like, see those stats, because those stats reflect how you're doing the game. Yeah. I think the part I was focusing on here, which maybe was lost a little bit, is the debug part of this. Like in my mind, debug information is stuff that is not needed by players. So for example, like how many frames per second are you getting? Like if the game is, if it seems smooth to you, shouldn't really matter, right? So it's like, oh, if the game doesn't seem smooth, it's considered a bug. To debug that, you'd look at the frame rate or something. Anyway, okay, so let's see. Consider giving the first adventure skill for free. So you level up, and they were saying, what if you got this skill for free? I don't even think it was necessarily like click the button for them. I think it was just charge them 0. Well, 5 gold is basically 0. Still, you might not have the 5 gold at that time. Although it is pretty unlikely. But I guess the difference between 0 and 5, if I think it's basically nothing, then maybe we should set it to 1 or something. As long as the next skill costs the same anyway, I don't really mind. But I don't know how easy it'd be to do that because I wrote some like gigantic skill calculator thing. How does this work? Cost of first skill unlocked for first adventure is 5. Then do, oh, that's it? Oh, so we can just change this to 1. Okay, I thought this was used to calculate the other costs. Apparently it is not. Okay, so 1 is much closer to 0 than 5 is to 0. So now it's basically free. I could set it to 0. I just don't think it's good to have something in the game that costs nothing and has a price attached to it. Maybe you give 5 gold on level up. I could, yeah. I think the odds of you having 0 gold now is probably incredibly slim. And it could happen, but then, I mean, you'll earn the 1 gold by just pretty much any battle you do. All right, so now it says on, wait, what? Did I set it to 0? Why does that say 0? That's weird. Huh, that is weird. I don't understand. Like, did I build or something? What? Okay, I am very confused. When this was set to 5, everything worked totally fine, right? And that number was actually 5. And then when I said it's a 1, it's actually 0. Or is this some debug thing that I'm like hacking my way around? No, it says 5 there. What if I said it's a 3? Like, we're not subtracting 1 all the time. Oh, we round to the nearest 5. I forgot about that. Yeah, round every cell down to nearest multiple of 5. Okay. All right, so this would cost 0. So it should have just cost 0 then. Yeah, maybe. Fine. It's just easier than to code anything different. So now we need to make sure all the other costs remain the same. Oh, don't we have a way of printing out this whole table? Didn't I make like a debug print? There's a 2-string here. I think we can just print that out. Yeah. Jiggle Jam, yeehaw. How's it going, Cavino? Hey, Cavino, I see you're making a clicker game. Probably, I'm sure you're advertising as the best clicker game of this millennium that was made in Godot by someone named Cavino. But out of... ads. All right, fine. I thought that should be impossible to get ads when you raid somebody. All right, well, anyway, welcome in, everybody. I don't know how many of you are getting ads. We're working on Skeleseller here, which I will link. For those who have not seen Cavino, please do check out his stream. He's very entertaining. He's very consistent. We're working on Skeleseller here, and we are talking about the cost of unlocking skills. And I have it set to 0. So we should print this out. Cost table, print cost table 2-string. I want to make sure that all of the cells in this table are exactly the same as they used to be, except for one. Oh, good. GD does not exist. Godot.gd.print. It's not. It wasn't even highlighted red. Make sure I did a top tier raid. Much appreciated. Okay, so here's the whole table. We're going to take a picture of this. There we go. And then we're going to change this to 5 and take another picture. Or, well, I guess we don't need a second picture. Shiny sub badges that someone gifted me. Yeah, Cavino dodged them. There were like 150 gifted subs, mostly from Spiro. Oh, what am I doing? I don't need to look at that. I just need to look at this. Okay, so are these numbers the same, except for the very first one? 25, 50, 85, 140, 225, 370. And let's look at the bottom row. Oh, they're off by 5 now. Yeah, so the first column has been shifted by 5. How do I feel about that? I think I'm fine. Override it to 1 at the very end. Yeah, that's true. Just change the very, very first skill. Oh, that one was from Smurf. Yeah. Yeah, Smurf has gifted a lot of subs too. All right, so that one cost whatever the number was, but then this one's going to cost 20 and then 25. Okay. So do I want to do that? What is this function? Set up cost table. Yeah, no, you know what? I don't mind. Let's just leave it at 0. I think that's okay. Yeah. So these costs would have gotten a little bit less, which means that over the course of the game, you would have paid 35 gold less. Well, more once we have more adventurers. I think that's okay. Yeah, back from Ad Talk goes to depth. It goes well. I was going to ask, what made you want to make a clicker game? And is that what you're working on for Jiggle Jam? And has there been a lot of engagement on Jiggle Jam? All right, so Kit gave this suggestion. We're going to say this. So reduce first skill cost by 5 for all adventurers. Originally, it only cost 5G, but Kit suggested that we make the first one free. So we're doing that. And now he can never say that we didn't take one of his suggestions. There. Wait. No, wait, I wrote this wrong. Which actually changed every adventurer by minus 5G, which I'm fine with. Yeah. Lack of skills led me to clicker game, but we're adding auto chess to it as well for the multiplayer practice. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I think I was just saying this earlier, coincidentally, that I think an auto battler kind of game is much easier to make multiplayer than, let's say, an FPS or something. Oh, it doesn't start. Man, I keep asking about that. I keep forgetting. This game is hopefully to be released on Steam. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a tough genre to compete in, though. The auto battler genre. Because there are a lot of the auto chess sorts of games, and then the Bazaar is still being developed, and backpack battles, and yeah. But yeah, thank you for the raid. I'm sorry you got stuck in ads. I'm actually kind of surprised because I thought raids would make you immune for some amount of time. But I guess no one's immune from advertisers. TFT Enjoyer. I've never played any of those games, I think. Even Hearthstone Battlegrounds. I used to play Hearthstone, and I don't remember if Battlegrounds came out when I was still playing. But I've still never watched a single game of Hearthstone Battlegrounds either, and I watch Hearthstone basically every day. So I just don't care about them. I I think the only auto battler I played was from a friend of mine who's still developing it. TFT mentioned. Definitely will be a tough one in terms of clicker games, though. It'll be the greatest clicker game known to mankind, so not worried. You missed my little joke slash jab while you were watching an ad. I said, I'm sure you're going to say that this is the best clicker game of the millennium, coded by someone named Cavino. Battlegrounds has ups and downs. It seems like it's popular. Yeah, I only really watch Arena, and every once in a while some Constructed from some of the more meta breaking YouTubers. You know it. That I do. So consider showing what an adventurer excels at when showing the hiring stuff. All right, let's go look at our hiring materials and take in oh, skip this. I forgot that was going to happen. So here's the kind of thing you see now. A powerful spellcaster can cast damaging elemental spells, sometimes in rapid succession. So what we could say is at the beginning of all this, like roll and then damage. That could be an easy enough thing to do. But what are the different roles that we have? Damage, tank, healer, and hybrid. And then we need to slot everyone into one of these roles. So archer, mage, paladin, warrior, cleric. Oh, maybe we don't need to slot them into multiple. Maybe we could just say what they do. Roll, damage, tank, healer, for example. Or like primary roles. Yeah, we could do something like that. Used to play duels. I watched a lot of duels. I thought duels was interesting. I think I've been watching Redbeard a lot, and Redbeard said in the last like couple days, he said duels was like the worst of both worlds. You had a constructed part of the beginning and then a draft afterward. So the people who just want to construct a deck are not going to have that satisfied, and the people who just want to draft aren't going to have that satisfied. So this is very, very low cost to add to the game, but is it worth it? Like if you saw roll damage for this, you'll never see it again in the rest of the game. And I don't know how many people are going to hover over this anyway. Actually, no, they do. They read this stuff. So let's say we unlock that. Let's say we actually click this. And then what? Does this work? Yeah. Okay, so now we can see everybody. So yeah, I would say roll damage, tank, damage, tank, healer, healer. I think I like that. Yeah, I think I like that. Let's do that. A strong and sturdy fighter. Okay, so we put a /n/nb rolls, or I guess roll in this case, rolls maybe. Tank damage. Oh, we actually could put their abilities in here too, although it wouldn't mean anything, and I don't want to overwhelm people. All right, let's see how that looks. I guess we could put a period at the end. Just make it a list. It's only going to show for the warrior. But I just want to see if it looks compelling enough to do. All right, so we click this and then this. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Could include keywords like stun or poison. I think that's what I would like the descriptive text at the top to be, because I don't want it to be too in-depth there. Like, it doesn't really matter too much how this thing absorbs damage, just that it absorbs damage. Because there are no weaknesses or anything in the game. So if you knew that this thing was like poison, for example, it doesn't really change anything. Yeah, okay. I like this idea. All right, let's put this in. And did he suggest that? Yeah, I guess so. All right, another bonus to Kit for doing this. All right, so roll here is just going to be damage. Should we even say rolls plural if we do that, or just roll damage? Yeah, just roll. Okay, so mage also just damage. Cleric. Heal. Healer. Damage, heal. I think just keep it in one word, something like this. So now rolls would be tank, heal. Witch doctor would be tank, damage. Archer is just damage. And that's everybody. Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. So now let's go take a look at all of them. Unfortunately, we have the rogue already, so we can't look at them, but we can look at all the other ones. By the way, currently everybody does damage in the game. For me to list it as a roll means that they must do enough. Yeah, so Witch Doctor should... actually, should they have damage first? Yeah, Witch Doctor should have damage first. Where are they? Because tank is kind of the secondary one. Damage, 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 tank, tank damage, tank heal, heal. Yeah, it's pretty good. Warrior isn't quite damage. Yeah, but the counterattack part, I kind of wanted to make that still be listed as damage. Also, it doesn't matter even if we like falsely advertise these. I think if we get feedback saying like, "Oh man, this character sucked," or we need to rebalance things, I think we'll take that into consideration. All right, so add roles when hiring adventurers. Oh, and then I should test that with the very beginning of the game too, right? New game. Oh wait, we can't do that because I skipped through this and auto hire the rogue. Well, let's just look at it then. Yeah, nice. It's fine. These show in the tooltip that also describe each class. Nice. I have no idea how good any character did. There's no metrics on who did what damage. Yeah, I think some of that will probably get added. Although I still strongly suspect you will never like this game, you specifically. And I do not mean that as an insult or anything. I'm just saying I think this is more casual than you want it, and your feedback made it very clear you want more depth, and I don't want to add more depth to the game. So I think every suggestion would be steering toward a game that this shouldn't be. And yeah, I have to be kind of careful about that. It's kind of, I make this, make sort of a joke every once in a while that like, if you want your game to be more successful, make Minecraft. Like, we know Minecraft is a mega popular, super successful game. So imagine if you started with a game like, I don't know, GoldenEye or Mario Kart or something like that. If every decision you make steers you toward Minecraft, the game will actually be better as a result of it. Like, Minecraft sold more than GoldenEye did. But it'd also be you making a different game at that point. So yeah, I think the goal for me is like, make the game that fits into the vision and design philosophy that I sort of came up with and kind of stick to, and it evolves from time to time. But it's like people could do that same thing and just be like, hey, you should be making Minecraft. It's like, yeah, the game would probably do a lot better if I did that, but it's just not the goal. Now I might have accidentally, no, I didn't. Okay, good. All right, make unspent skills way more obvious. Yeah, this is something I've had written down for a while, and we just don't have. We need like a glowing border or something, or like a warning symbol or something. In fact, maybe that's what we should do. Maybe the number of skill points you have available doesn't really matter. It's just, do you have them or not? And we just show like an exclamation point symbol. I think that could actually work pretty well. Let me search for that because I think we have this somewhere. Unspent. I think this is maybe a bad idea. But I like the exclamation point idea. Make unspent skill points much more obvious. So we have the skill pips right now, but I wonder if we should have an exclamation mark symbol instead of the pips, since the number doesn't really matter, just whether it's 0 or greater than 0. Well, not the number, but the exact number. Yeah, then when hovering over that adventurer, it could say that you have an unspent skill point. Yeah, I like that idea quite a lot. Maybe also a global UI element, which tells you that you have unspent skill points. That's already in the game, but we can make it more obvious. So adventurers, the button turns green, and then the tooltip says you have one adventurer with an unspent skill point. And actually, this, I think, changes in an interesting way. Like if I have multiple adventurers, hang on, how do I do this? There. And then I give them skill points. No, I see. It just says, yeah, you have two adventurers with an unspent skill point. But yeah, we need to make this more obvious too, and maybe doing something like that is important. Part of the difficulty here is that there are 2 actions you can take within the adventurers panel. Wait, no, I said that wrong. No, I think I'm gonna just do that. Yeah. Also, when you have unspent skill points, but no way to spend them without unlocking a skill, should probably highlight the unlock random skill button differently. All right. Yeah, I like that. Green is maybe not the right color for that, just my thought. Yeah, I'm not saying the UI is perfect here, but I'm saying green is the, like, you have an action you can take color. So if I look at this, there are a bunch of things I can build. As soon as I built one of these, like, all of them turn white again. So it's at least consistent with what we have, and I do need to make this clearer. So yeah, we do need to do that at some point. Same thing with perks, by the way. If I have enough money here, then this will turn green as well. Although then we use a dot in this screen. So yeah, we need to fix that. All right, basically anything we have a tip for needs to be shown directly in the game. A small cutscene or camera movement after beating the dragon, that you can build a weapon shop. I mean, in general, I certainly agree with this. I don't want to add a bunch of cutscenes to the game. We do have tips. We do have the buildings menu. I want to keep an eye on this still. I want to see enough people play the game and see how they're interacting with things and what they read and don't read, and then how the game tries to get you back on track. Because what could we do if we can always tell you that something is possible, but if we want you to do that thing, I think we just keep trying to make it more attractive to you instead of trying to force your attention to be there and do that thing. Like something I don't like about when I'm playing really any new game, like let's say I'm playing a mobile game, because mobile games do this quite a lot. They do the whole, like, you're forced to click here to spend your money so that you learn how to spend your money. It's like, I don't like this. I'd want them to tell me where to do something and then I kind of figure it out. Although some of these mobile games also have like 40 different screens where you can spend your money. So they probably don't want you to get lost. But I just played a desktop game, Dead Time Defenders, I think. And this game had a whole lot of that. Like every time there was a new system, it said like, go click here. And at one point I didn't. It said like, make a grenade or something like that. And I just clicked the back button and it said, cool, you've got a grenade now, but I never actually made one. So it just assumed that I did it. Just kind of funny. Not everyone likes forced cutscenes. Yeah, I definitely don't like them. And I tend to skip even the intro cutscenes of games. And I'm just not a story person. You do that with characters? What do you mean? Yeah, I hate mobile games with the tutorial forces at 100 button presses. Yeah, and also in ways that you might not ever want to do as a real organic player. A lot of times I'll have you spend premium currency or something, which is like a, hey, you should get the high of spending a premium currency. So yeah, I want to keep an eye on this, but right now this isn't really actionable. Like let's say we said problem. He didn't know about building the weapon shop. Um, oh, wait a second. This is, oh, darn it. Oh, there was that issue I just filed earlier about this. 2 points in the game of this game and half when you beat the volcano, when you beat the crypt. In each case, you'll get 9 and you may not be able to sell yet. Yeah, since I made it. Yeah. Okay, I wrote this down. Never mind. Okay. So that won't be a problem anymore, I guess. You'd eventually realize you have this building. The buildings menu steers you toward it. The game gives you a tip. Beyond that, there isn't anything to tell you to get the shop. It almost necessarily couldn't be text, though, if someone's not going to read anyway. So I'd have to show people in that case. I see what you mean. And I think this is the problem I have. Which is like, man, actually, it would have been interesting to see some of these people interact with like well-known popular games and just see where they get stuck or what they're doing. And I have watched people, I mentioned this before, I watched a bunch of people play Breath of the Wild for the first time. They'd never seen the game before, or if they had, they didn't remember whatever specific part they were on. And I remember there's at one point, Breath of the Wild, what do I type? Like parry tutorial? Is it this, or maybe Flurry Rush tutorial? Is this, it's not showing. Hang on, I'll search for another second or so, but then it's this, but I wanted to find a specific screen in this section. All right, well, anyway, it tells you at some point in the game, you're like in this shrine, and it says exactly on the screen at all times, like, here's how you flurry rush. And that's all the game's trying to teach you. And I've watched people get stuck on this section for like 5 minutes because they're not reading the text, or they think that they don't need to follow the text for some reason. And this is Breath of the Wild, which has, whatever, 6 years of game design and development behind it. And this screen doesn't show up, does it? I wanted to show how obvious this thing was and how like in your face it is. Anyway, if a game like Breath of the Wild struggles with it, some part of me wonders, as long as players are incentivized, if they're having fun and they want to keep continuing, they will probably figure this stuff out eventually, or find a way to have fun without figuring it out. I know there was another person who played Breath of the Wild, and I didn't watch this person, but apparently she played the game for like 80 hours before even figuring out that you could do that thing, just because her path through the game never took her into that tutorial. And like, okay, yeah, I don't know. She probably still had fun playing the game, right? Like, why would she play for 80 hours if she didn't have fun? So I think I'm gonna reject this thing for now, but I like this idea. I want to save this somewhere, and I just don't know where. Sending out 2 teams at the same time. I think there's a tip that talks about that, although I don't recall if we still have that. Yeah, we do. Yeah, so there's a tip that mentions it, and the way I looked at it was, again, like, if people don't figure that out, that's fine. Oh yeah, this needs to be reloaded. There we go. Yeah, it mentions this at some point. I recognize that you might have either dismissed this, or you might have forgotten about it, or you might have thought, oh, I know what it is. Oh, I guess it's pretty much those 2 things. Client is having issues configuring the device. Simply put, they're struggling to press a button. Yeah. Yeah. And this is what leads to all of the game design solutions here of like, well, we'll just force people to click the button, because then how could you possibly not know it exists? But even then, it's like at any given point, we all have the goals and our context in our head. So maybe clicking the button at that point is not the most helpful thing. But yeah, I think this is actually a big component of modern game design, is like, just beat the player over the head with what they need to do, because they probably tested with a bunch of different people, and there's someone out there who's just like, I'm not reading any of this text. I'm not going to do what you want me to do. There was that famous example. Who was this? Cuphead tutorial journalist. Yeah. This person, and I feel bad, like the internet piled on this person, but there's a video of this person who just got stuck in the tutorial, and they like, I think it was actually on this screen, where, I know this is kind of hard to read, but it says like, you can jump here, you can dash in the air. There are no enemies. There's no challenge here. Assuming you have, you know, a certain amount of dexterity, you should be able to accomplish this. And they just got like stuck there. And it's like, is that a problem with the game or is that a problem with the player? I don't know. Okay, so I think this is a tough thing. I'm just going to write it in my stream of consciousness thing here. Something I've been thinking about is the show, don't tell principle. In Skeleseller, we have tips and some nudges toward things. But for people who don't read any text in games, they're not going to see that stuff. And then they're going to get stuck. The way to get them unstuck is to do something more visual or hand-holdy. I don't think more text would solve the problem for them. As a result, I think it's sort of hard to address these things in general. Yeah, like I don't want to add cutscenes to the game or steer people too much. I still look at the main game as a tutorial for the challenge modes. And maybe then people would be more willing to read text. They know they're having fun. I don't know. Hey, Goose. 100% the player. I don't think it's ever 100% the player. And that's the challenge here, right? Like, what is a problem that is 100% the player? And there are things that are close. Like, let's say I don't know, the music is too loud. So it's like, okay, we'll go into the settings and turn music volume down. It's like most games do this. They have a way of turning down the music volume. So like if the music's too loud for you, yeah, probably that's on you as a player. If you can't access the settings or something, then yeah, I can see that being a problem. But like even in this case, is that on the player? If enough people complain that the music is too loud, maybe just the bass volume is too loud. Like where do you draw the line? Yeah, I can't read or write. I can't play games. Would an optional glossary feature explaining different features in detail be an option? I don't think so. The type of user we're talking about are people who don't read, and when they encounter an issue, they don't seek out more ways of reading stuff. Because I'm saying this from experience watching people play Skeleseller, sometimes without them even knowing that I'm going to watch their videos. So I've watched now like tens of people play Skeleseller, and a small percentage of them, maybe a total of like I don't know, 10 to 20% of them just do not read. And it's just like, it's like a fact of how they play the game. And there are tooltips for a lot of things. So for example, if you hover over skill points, it says you get a skill point every even numbered level. Like for a lot of people, it causes confusion at first that, oh, why didn't I get a skill point? They eventually realize it because they level up another time and they're like, oh, it's every even numbered level. But if they did hover over this, then they'd figure it out and they don't ever seek out that information. And they even see tooltips pop up and just like scan over it so quickly that they don't check that stuff out. Again, I'm not fully blaming it on the player. I'm not saying the game is perfect or anything. And I don't know if there is a problem that is 100% on the player. And if you do too much trying to accommodate that, you'll never actually make forward progress with your game. Anyway, I'm going to delete this now. Okay, clicking the fishing pond can open the battle map to the pond. I think that's a good change. Where they couldn't jump and dash. Yeah, but like now imagine if the game like had a voiceover saying, "Hey, you're not jumping and dashing the right way, and we can tell you're trying to do it. Do you want us to show you?" Or I don't know, it detected it or something. It's like the game could fix that issue. It's just so few people will run into that issue ever in their entire course of playing the game that they would want to do that. Also, Cuphead, from my understanding, I don't know if I played it or if I did, I played it for a very brief amount of time. I think it's a very hard game. So if you can't make it past that first tutorial, you're probably not going to have fun playing the game, is my guess. I think these things are maddening. I every once in a while make the gigantic mistake of reading what Blizzard fans have to say. And I've been into WoW Classic from a distance for a while now. Like I'm not playing it right now. But I just went on, I think yesterday. Let me see if I can find this. Because I want you to know I'm not making this up. Okay, yeah. All right, so let me lay this out for everybody. World of Warcraft is a game where you typically spend tens and tens of hours. It's not like play in 10 minutes and you're done with the game. So that's the context you need. And then this piece of context is that when you die in this particular mode, you're dead for good. So those tens of hours you put in are now down to 0. You just lost all of your progress. There is no way to recover it. Anyway, it is a server side, it's a game with a server, and the servers are sometimes offline for some reason. And in this particular case, it can be due to a malicious person or people out there who took the server offline. Imagine, just for the sake of illustration here, that someone took a sword to the server cables and just chopped them off. Your character might die in the game now, and too bad, you're just dead for good because it was hardcore and you lose all your progress. There are some people in the comments of this thread down here who are like, they should never, where is it? Yeah. Like, even in a distributed denial of service, if you die, you died. It's just too bad. Like, just move on. And I don't know, is this person arguing in good faith or not? It's impossible to tell from just this comment, right? You'd have to look at their history or find out or talk to them or something like that. Do they believe this, or are they just saying this to rile people up? And it's just like this comment here. Is this person saying this in good faith? Like, a person wrote a review saying the game has no story, but then they skipped all of the story. Are they expecting it to be spoken? Because this is another thing. I think sometimes people misreport their feedback. If this person was really saying, like, I wanted voice acting or something like that could be valid, sure. Although then they should write that instead of saying that the game has no story. So I'm baffled sometimes by how people engage with things and then what they complain about. I've seen this happen with movies too. It's not like movies are interactive, but still people like get the totally wrong message, or they focus on some detail that wasn't relevant, and then they leave a review that just ends up getting like totally thumbed down on IMDb because they're just like, what is the point of this? It's like saying, oh, I saw this movie and it was bad because the air conditioning was broken in the theater. It's like, that's not the movie's fault. And I don't know what people are thinking. Did they res people from DDoS attacks? Yeah. Will you sit down, cat? Yes, you will. Okay, good, cat. All right, clicking the fishing pond can open the battle map directly. Should open the battle map and select the fishing pond in it. This was Gitboga's suggestion. I think it's a pretty good thing to do. Skipping half the content, going, I don't know why the game didn't grab me, is my favorite combo. There are other subsets of this. Streamers and I think speedrunners sometimes do some of this stuff without realizing it. So streamers, I kind of mentioned this, but the title screen of Skeleseller has music that plays for, I don't know, maybe 80 seconds. 80 seconds is more than enough time if you're not streaming to do whatever you need to do on the title screen. You get to the title screen, you're not narrating to anybody because you're not streaming. You click the settings button maybe, and then you click new game. But streamers don't do that. Streamers are like, hey, this is Skeleseller. Oh man, I've been playing a bunch of indie games lately. Oh, speaking of indie games, you guys ever play Terraria? That's a great game. Hey, let's go look at the Steam page for that. And then they get back to the game after 80 seconds and the music stopped. And they're like, is there no music in this game? It's just funny to me because it's like, I'm gonna address that, right? That's why I say it's a problem with the game. The music should just loop, or I should compose more music or something like that. But the same thing kind of with speedrunners sometimes. I don't see this in my game, but I've seen this with other people's games where they like start trying to apply speedrunning strats even though they're playing it for the very first time. It's like, just maybe enjoy the game. Don't try to speedrun through everything. I watched someone play Breath of the Wild where they tried paragliding. No, sorry. They would try just falling off of a tower and get as close to the ground as possible before activating the paraglider. And every once in a while, they would die instead of activating the paraglider. And then they'd have to go through the loading screen. So they'd lose like 10 seconds. So now however much they saved just got immediately wiped out by dying even once. It's like, you know, most people would probably just engage at like a second before hitting the ground, not a tenth of a second. It happens a lot with Marketplace and those kinds of apps in the App Store. It's hilarious. 1 star on eBay because someone bought something and it was bad or not what they wanted. Yeah. Yeah, every once in a while you see that even on Amazon. I think Amazon had something where they emailed people asking questions like, "Hey, did this product work for you?" And people didn't understand what was happening, so they just respond like, "No," or "I didn't buy this product" or something, and then they would make it onto Amazon as the Q&A section. I know full well I'm not listening to it. I think that's fine. I think you end up liking the game and you seek out the OST on YouTube or on Steam or something like that. You'll probably end up listening to it and then you'll probably appreciate it. All right, when hiring an adventurer, maybe open the adventurers panel directly. Let's take a look at what this feel like in the game. So we get the mage. And now I guess I would pop this up and select the mage. Would I want that to happen? I don't know. But I don't think we're going to try to be too clever about this. Yeah, I don't think we're going to try to be too clever with it. Should start all battles at full life. Yeah, I already have this written down somewhere. But I recognize this is a big problem. Yeah, this is not a consider anymore. This is just do it. This is regenerate adventurers before starting a battle for the first time. Especially important for bosses. Yeah. I'll write one more update here. I'd better stop writing updates because it's obvious that we need to do this. All right, maybe there are reminders that stay on screen, like you have fish that only show after a long time and can be toggled off. Could also be for the slimy and max hunger. Man, even when Kit was saying this, I was like, I'm not sure this is a good idea because I think we'd have a lot of things on the screen at practically all times and they just become a bunch of UI elements that fade into the background. And I think part of this too is that any of those systems should eventually get to the point of automation that ignoring them wouldn't have mattered as much. Like the slime being a max hunger, it should be able to pull from the warehouse at some point. I just never ended up doing that. So I think I'm going to delete this for now. May want tooltips on adventurers in the battle to see how much damage they're doing and other stats. Yeah, I like this idea. I like this idea a lot. But this is a quite involved endeavor. Also, I do wonder how many people would look at that. Where is this? It might be a closed issue because I probably decided just not to do it. What does it say? Oh, no, here it is. 516, what is that? Oh, yeah, boy. Okay. Show the tooltip, current buffs, debuffs, stats like damage dealt. Yeah, I'll write this here. Update. Kate gave this feedback when he played. I'm not sure how many people would look for this information. Maybe we should add an empty tooltip saying, nah, that's kind of dumb. I was going to say, we could say like stats will go here, just write in your Steam review that you want to see stats. Yeah. Okay. Allow clicking customer desire bubbles to open the map to a location that has the item. This is interesting. The reason I've always wanted to avoid allowing you to click on a customer thought bubble or something is because I was worried you'd accidentally click when you're just trying to move the camera. And I guess we could detect that you're trying to move the camera. Yeah. Because we stop it from, we stop you from clicking this sort of thing. So we could stop you from clicking the thought bubble. Yeah, I'll write it as a consideration at least. Consider allowing clicking item desires to open the battle map to a location with that item. Hit suggestion. Clicking customer desire bubbles open the map to a location that has items so that you can obtain it for yourself, for them. Venomous Bite needs to say that it uses the damage from poisonous skin. Okay, that should be pretty quick to fix, right? Venomous Bite. Chance to do this. Lethality note. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking about here. Poisonous skin. What does this say? Your zombies have poisonous skin, causing attackers to get poisoned. So we should just refer to poisonous skin then, huh? Poisonous skin name. Give them a chance to poison the enemy. See, how do we do this? Color equals UI constants. Tooltip, help text, color name. See poisonous skin for damage details. I don't know. Let's just look at that in the game. maybe it sounds stupid. And we could just put these in here, what the damage details are. Did I delete a line? I think I did. Oh, no, I just didn't add a line. That's fine. Okay, so now we get all the adventurers. And we go over to here and we look at venomous bite. Where are you? Here. Infuses your zombies' bites with venom, giving them a chance to poison the enemy. See poisonous skin for... Oh, that's not how you're supposed to do that. Don't we have like a format skill name or something? Format skill name. Yeah, we do. So we can just delete all of that. Oh, let's look at that. Hey, Jeffrey. Game's really coming along. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting ready for Next Fest, which is June 9th. I'm really hoping we bring in a lot of people for that. Here it is. Infuses your zombies' bites with venom, giving them a chance to poison the enemy. See poisonous skin for damage details. Your zombies have poisonous skin, causing attackers to get poisoned for 18 damage per second for 7 seconds. We could just say that in here. Why even bother, right? Nothing else even... Oh, I see. Okay. I don't know. This is curious. So lethality increases the damage of poison skin, and venomous bite uses the damage from poisonous skin. So if we did just say see poisonous skin for damage details, then you could infer that this is being affected by lethality. I'm going to leave this as is. Yeah. I'm going to say clarify venomous bite. It never showed damage numbers anywhere. Yeah. I guess it technically still doesn't. It still doesn't, but now it says to look at poisonous skin. All right, maybe worth cutting down the length of the demo by 30 minutes or so. Maybe you can even show what's missing. You would get more locations. Targeting an hour rather than 2 can be good, since I think people learn the game in about an hour. Yeah, I already spent a long time pondering that today. There were a couple of points where he said he may have looked away from Skeleseller. One was right after beating the dragon, although he hadn't read that there were new locations he could build. Feedback 20 said the same general thing at the 40-minute mark. I wonder if we need to do a better job at advertising that there's something new to build. Maybe by showing the signs glowing rainbow until you click them. Maybe bringing your attention to the new stuff. Oh, sorry, cat. Nope. She definitely heard that squeak. Bringing your attention to the new stuff. I guess maybe having the signs be more visible in the world until you click them for the first time could be kind of interesting. Although I don't know how exactly we'd accomplish that. Right now, signs glow with these particles in this small of a circle. So if we just made them like a huge circle, you would definitely see them, but then they would be distracting. But yeah, I do wonder if we had like some light glow effect. And maybe the longer you go without clicking a sign, the bigger that effect gets until it's like half the screen. So then you'd click the sign and then it would just go back to normal, because then you'd know that that thing exists. I mean, they're also in the buildings menu here. I don't know. I mean, I never intended for the signs to be the only way that you end up looking for these things. Because what people do when they realize there are signs is they start looking all over the map, and the map is huge. And zoomed out, the signs aren't super obvious. Yeah, maybe we should just make signs more obvious. Consider making signs more obvious, or sign posts, I guess. Copy as markdown so we get that link. Where Kid said he may have looked away from Skeleseller. One's right after being the dragon. 20 here is the same general thing. Yeah, maybe we could just show... Maybe we could make the particle systems bigger. Especially when zoomed out. I don't know, I'll have to think about that. All right, windy feedback. He really patted himself on the back for that aerographic. This is me making a joke. Tried clicking on an NPC just to see what it would do. I wrote an NPC, but I don't remember which NPC. Because if it was a customer, it would have reacted, and I think it did. If it was a shopkeep, they would have reacted. Hey, Spherophoria, how you doing? Welcome in, welcome in. And hello, Raiders. Hey, Spherophoria, I want to apologize for the thing I said about your VODs not being available. I hope that didn't come off as like a criticism or something. Because I couldn't tell your tone through text, but it wasn't until thinking about it afterward that I was like, I hope I didn't rub him the wrong way. I certainly didn't mean it in a bad way. You're still thinking about that? Okay. All right, well, glad to hear it. Also, hey, Sphere, man, welcome back. Happy 61 months. Yeah, how'd the stream go today, Spherophoria? I know we end at roughly the same time, so I'm guessing you're willing to, you probably want to bail, get off your computer. We've been doing what I've been calling hyper triage, which is just trying to get through this gigantic document of stuff. We are now at 69338 characters. So we have gotten rid of, in total, 8,000 characters in about 3 hours. So, yeah. We got rid of 10% of the list. Got down the list by about 10%. Stream was good. Spent like 4 hours PCB routing. Oh, nice. What program are you using? Is it KiCad by any chance? Because that's the only thing I've done PCB routing in. And very little of that. Yeah, KiCad. Okay, yeah. What for? You're making hardware now? I like you're measuring your list completion characters. It just gives you a more granular thing than pages. Also, pages, I'm in pageless mode. So if I shrink the window, look, it says 1 out of 46. As I expand the window, it's now shrinking. 1 out of 39, 1 out of 37, 1 out of 36 when I'm at max, I guess. No, 1 out of 37. Making an Xbox controller. Oh, cool. Spheroshock. Yeah. Man, I saw a controller on Slick Deals that they showed a phone up against it, and it was like this much of the phone size. So how would you even press the buttons? Is it a controller for ants? I mean, I don't know what the real size is. I could probably find this really fast, but I thought that was kind of funny. Let me search for controller really fast and see if I can pull it up. Where was it? Oh yeah, of course I can't find it now. Yeah, it was some like mini controller. Wonder if I just search Amazon for mini controller. I don't care. Yeah, nano controllers. Maybe that's it. Nano controller. Oh wow, even that's tiny. No, these aren't like what I was thinking about. Yeah, what I was looking at was like a really, really tiny controller. Oh, like specifically search for 8-bit. I thought it would search for, I guess I could search for tiny controller. Oh, I've seen this one. I think a friend of mine bought this one. He was going to use it to control some like art program on his computer because apparently this can send keystrokes and not just like arbitrary controller key codes. Yeah, so using it as like a remote control is kind of interesting. Anyway, neat. I think it's good to explore those sorts of things. Also, it's cool to have made some hardware. I can't really say I've made hardware. I just modified a keyboard thing. But yeah. Okay. There's a lot of other stuff to look through here. I do like that we've started this process, and I think we should probably devote some amount of time to this. Oh, I can do some of this off stream too. In fact, maybe I should do that. Like watch other people's streams and just tackle items on this list. Yeah. Wow. Well, anyway, it's been a pretty good day. By the way, Siriforia, if you want to, do you want to see the intro to the game? I'll show it anyway. You don't have to watch. So don't worry, I will not ask your opinion after this. But I got it done. So let me turn off my cams for a sec. And then 1 month later, and then the game starts. Did I do the music myself? Yeah. I mean, it's just the town theme I had from a while ago. But on that note, we are working on new music, which as long as I'm showing things off and not doing any work. Let me show this off and not do any work. This part's not done yet. Anyway, I gotta polish this up, but it's coming along. Sounds realistic. Yeah, it's just one of the synth presets. Well, actually, it's a sample-based thing, so it should sound better than something I could just do from scratch, I guess. But yeah, we got to work on that, and then I started coming up with some battle music, but not even really sold on the game needing battle music. It would just be for the bosses, though. But yeah. This cat has been bathing herself for the last, like, 10 minutes here. Oh. You want to lick? No? Okay. Take a song they like, then just speed it up a bit and make a couple tweaks. Like someone else's song? That's nuts. No, their song. Okay, yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, some people probably actually do that with other people's stuff. But then those are the asset flip kinds of games. All right, let's go find someone to raid on Twitch. I do appreciate everyone sticking around. We're gonna, by the way, the next entire month, really up until June 9th, is really just like prep for Next Fest. So there is a lot of just like get organized, figure out which things we need to do. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be not on stream. I'm gonna be making a trailer to update what's on the Steam page. So like we have this trailer from a while ago, and if you've been watching the development of the game, it's probably easy enough for you to spot some differences just between the trailer and what's in the game now. But some things are really obvious, like, whoops. The tavern looks totally different. Like quests work totally differently. Yeah, there's a lot of differences. So I want to update the trailer so that for Next Fest it's good to go. But yeah, let's go find someone to raid. All right, I don't think we found someone new to raid in a little while. Let's go try to find somebody new. Okay, here we go. Although I guess technically Zinko is new in terms of me not having raided her before, but I was at least aware of her stream already. All right, so we're looking for people who are not following, who do not have a crazy uptime. Ideally less than 2 hours. Oh, wait, this person? Oh, but they're not streaming English. It says English, though. Oh, it also says Portuguese. Okay, yeah, sorry. If the main language is not English, then I can't really follow along and understand. Okay, this person. Yeah, let's rate this person. Ultima 7 Revisited. Is that something they're making? Ultima 7, because I was going to say that is not that's not an indie game. What is Ultima 7 Revisited? Replacement engine for Ultima 7. Okay, yeah, so then they're working on that. Got it, cool. Okay, let's go rate this person. Viridian Games. All right, kicking this off. Take care, Zav. Have a productive evening. And goodbye, everybody. If you'd like to join Discord, there's the link. I'll be back online on Wednesday. Like I said, tomorrow should be about making the trailer for the game. So I hope you all have a good one. See ya later.